Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
it's a rundown.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says, "Oh."
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
Good morning, National Football League. As you heard there in the update, the eyes of the NFL are on Columbus. Ryan Day said it yesterday. If you've got a position of need on your roster heading into the 2025 season, that can likely be filled by a now former Buckeye. Reeser, Baker, Cole rolling along with you on a Just Friends edition of the program. An Ohio State Pro Day edition of Bishop and Friends on this first Friday, the last first Friday in the month of March. Almost there.
It's close.
To where you don't have to worry about a frost anymore. I can finally hang up my scraper. Had to pull that out this morning. Never an enjoyable morning when that comes out.
I thought you were going to open up with opening day eve of Major League Baseball season, even though it's technically already
So
open.
I'll say this. As a Guardians fan, the excitement's not there for me because they're not doing it in Cleveland. They're in Kansas City, and then I think they've got another series against another team into this weekend, but they're opening at Progressive Field next week. So I get it for the Reds fans out there who it's akin to Christmas Eve, as you guys open tomorrow against the San Francisco Giants. That'll be exciting in Ohio's Queen City.
It's always it's like a holiday down there. I was, a couple years ago, me and my dad probably went to 3 or 4 opening day Reds games in a row.
Did you take in the parade and all the pomp and circumstance?
We didn't do the parade, but we did go down and, enjoy all of the festivities right around that weren't the parade. The Holy Grail, obviously, is always packed there, and there's all kinds of people everywhere, things to do. A lot of times we would park on the Kentucky side and take a trolley over or walk across the bridge, so there's things going on over there as well. It truly is like a holiday. For the longest time, the Major League Baseball season opened in Cincinnati. The first game every year was in Cincinnati. Obviously, that's not the way it is anymore, but at least the Reds do open at home every year.
I think from here on out, MLB is just going to open the season in a different country. Which is weird. Which is weird for America's pastime, but not to get too nationalist on you. Like, I agree that if one of the original team, like the Cincinnati Reds, are one of the oldest teams in the history of the sport, they should at least be one of several you would consider for this team opens every single Major League Baseball season. I'd also be okay if you didn't do it till April. March 27th seems a tad early. As I just mentioned, the ice scraper. Like, I know the Guardians are going to be in April when they open things at Progressive Field, but who's to say it won't be with half a foot of snow?
Who
knows?
One of those opening days we went to, it was beautiful. We got down there about noon. It was so sunny, and it was nice out. You're enjoying a couple pops on the patio. And then the game time came, and the clouds rolled in, and it got chilly and cold fast.
So I know there's different types of 50-degree days in Ohio. There's a cold 50 and there's a slightly warmer 50. Like there's shorts weather 50 and there's coat and long johns 50.
It's shorts weather 50.
For you, even in February. The weather for tomorrow in Cincinnati, it looks like it'll be in the 30s until about 10 o'clock, and then it shoots up into the mid-50s. By 4:10 first pitch, you're looking at 60 degrees, but clouds. So
yeah, and when those clouds come in, and obviously when the game starts, it's going to be 4:10. So you've already hit your peak temperature for the day this time of year by then, and it's only going to be dropping. I know that Scotty and Bids and I are going down next Wednesday at a 12:30 game, and I believe it's supposed to be mid to high 50s that day, but a chance with I think there's a chance of clouds and a little bit of rain, so that might be a cold day as well.
Showers and mostly cloudy. Temperatures next week in Ohio's Queen City in the mid-60s, so I'm assuming that'll be similar here. So the temperatures have gone up at least. At least you'll have that, and I believe the Columbus Clippers are also soon to open their season. They might not be at Huntington Park until the 1st. I think it's a dime a dog night next Tuesday. So it's baseball season, kids, but that comes tomorrow. Ohio State's Pro Day comes today. Buckeyes with 17 participants for the Pro Day today that are hoping to hear their names called in the draft that starts in less than a month in Green Bay, Wisconsin, April 24th, the day for the first round on that Thursday. In 2022, Georgia had 15 players taken in the 7 rounds. I think it expanded to 7, back in 1994. So since then, Georgia's got the most with 15. 2004, Ohio State. 2020, Bama had 14. Michigan had 13 back in 2024. 2004, Miami. And 2021, Bama have the most first-rounders with 6. So Ohio State, I don't think will have that. 2, 3 in the first round. But could be closing in on that 15 players. Look, if you need a player, Ohio State's likely got your back. Now, is there a QB1? Probably not. QB2 or QB3 could be found with one Will Howard. Like, this is a day for him to kind of make everybody forget about, I would say, a largely forgettable, regrettable combine performance.
And it's one of the things that I want to ask Jake Trotter when we talk to him later today at 10:30 is what Buckeye does he think has the most to gain from today? Because I think the easy answer is Will Howard, right? If he goes out there and he performs well, we kind of know who 1-2 in the quarterback derby is. Then, most people think Jackson Dart is number 3, but that's up for debate. Then there's all kinds of names that get thrown into that next group there. If Will Howard goes out and performs today and shows out, just how high can he raise his draft stock? I think of the running backs, though, too. Travion and Quinshon. There's a lot of people out there that will tell you Travion is a first-round type talent and maybe the second running back to go off the board. Some people don't think as highly of him. So I think of those guys a little bit. Maybe a guy like a Cody Simon could jump up a round or two with a good performance today. So it'd be interesting to get Jake's thought on that. Who has the most to gain today for the Buckeyes?
We'll also talk to a man at about 9:30 who participated in a pro day at Ohio State, one Tyvis Powell, get his thoughts on the same question. Which of these Buckeyes, and maybe we go a different route with Tyvis, which of these Buckeyes not named Will Howard has the chance to make some serious money today? The festivities will go from about 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., and then for the football Buckeyes that are going to be attempting to defend a national championship won in 2025, the 2024 season. They're back to practice tomorrow. Thursday is practice number 6 in the spring. You'll hear from James Laurinaitis and select linebackers, Keenan Bailey, and select tight ends. Again, that'll be tomorrow. Today, we will replay for you Larry Johnson and some select defensive linemen, C.J. Hicks, Caden Curry, Edric Houston. They spoke yesterday, so we'll kind of regurgitate some of their sounds. We'll also have Hey Guys, because it is a First Friday.
Sure
so
is.
Get your questions in at Twitter, on Twitter, in the YouTube chat. The best one wins that $50 gift card to our friends at High Bank Distillery.
And I hope that since we have Tyvis on today, on Pro Day, we have the Tyvis sounder ready from his Pro Day when he ain't dropped no money out there today. I can't wait to play that for him when he comes on.
That's good in advance because there are only, so many buttons that I can press at one time. And the Tyvis one that I've got, I have the...
There goes Tyvis.
And then I have... from that time when he ate the hot dogs on the air, the chili dogs that were in the, workplace pantry that you actually had to pay for, but that had been sitting there for a questionable amount of time.
I bet if he would have had Cane's honey mustard sauce, they would have been a little better.
I don't think anything could have made those things feel or taste any better. And also, when those hot dogs go in, they've got to come out. So I don't trust anything up there. Just to give a quick aside.
It's fair.
Just
didn't drop no money today.
There it is.
Love it.
Oh, yeah, money. Well, again, Tyvus at 9:30. We're waiting. Ohio State hasn't made any serious portal moves yet. Just 2 players, Austin Parks, Evan Mahaffey, have entered their names in. We're, only 2 days into the portal being open. It'll close on April 22nd, but that doesn't mean players have to be found or players have to find a landing spot. That just means they have to announce their intentions to transfer. So I'll give you my prospects list that I would like. A lot of it's when you're a kid and you ask for stuff for Christmas, you're asking Santa for everything that you ever want. And the expectation should be, well, I'll get a few of these. My expectations are pretty high based off of who I think Ohio State should be in the running for. Now, that's likely not who they're going to get. Also, we've got now 2 Patinos in one Big East conference, as Richard Pitino's making the move from New Mexico. He's going to go to Xavier. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the eldest Pitino. If he stays at St. John's for a couple of years, you get those 2 playing in conference tournaments and regular season games. Should be some fun. I had mentioned Larry Johnson and some defensive linemen. There is one defensive lineman for Ohio State who doesn't want those championship banners hanging at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. You'll hear from him next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
They say great customer service is a thing of the past, but not at Newman Roofing. Quality products, expert installers, and a team you can trust is the core foundation at Newman Roofing. Call 614-NEW-ROOF today to have your roofing, siding, or gutters replaced this spring, or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
Montana, Bettis, Horning, and Brown, some of the greatest of all time, kicked off their careers in South Bend. You can celebrate Notre Dame football's impact on the professional game by visiting the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton to experience Gold Helmet to Gold Jacket March 14th through April 27th. And register to win our grand prize at 971thefan.com/goldjacket. One winner will receive 2 tickets to the Hall of Fame game, enshrinement ceremony, and the Hall of Fame Museum. That's 971thefan.com/goldjacket.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off of closing costs. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.50%, APR 6.56% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-THIRD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring's going to be here before you know it. I know it feels cold now, but before too long, you're going to be outside running around, jogging, wanting to do golf, explore time with your family, get outside and do the things you love. Just be active. And listen, a lot of my friends, they're asking me about QC Kinetics joint treatments. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. And if you're wondering, maybe you could be a good candidate, let's see if the answer is yes to any of these questions. Quality of life impacted by chronic pain, knees, hips, back, shoulders, other things. Trouble sleeping, walking, day-to-day movement? Check. Next, avoiding surgery, the pain, the downtime? Check. Most importantly, do you miss doing the things I talked about when the spring and summer are here? Check. Don't wait. If you answered yes to one or any of those, you'd be a great candidate. You can go in there, go to QC Kinetics, ask for their free consultation, find out what it's all about, learn about the latest advances in regenerative medicine. They've got locations in Dublin and Gehenna, or you can go to QCkinetics.com/Columbus, or better yet, call 380-208-4544.
Of your favorite fan content? Good news, we're on all the digitals. Follow 971 The Fan on X, Facebook, YouTube, The Talk, and Gram. Your digital home for endless shenanigans. The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Feeling the aches and pains of everyday life slowing you down? Introducing Blue Emu, America's #1 emu oil formula for pain relief. In a recent clinical trial, 91% of users saw improvement after using Blue Emu. Whether you're working hard, playing harder, or just staying active, Blue Emu penetrates deep to relieve joint and muscle pain fast. And best of all, you won't stink. Join the 91% who felt the difference. Find Blue Emu at your local retailer or online. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're looking at temperatures that will warm up from a pretty chilly start into the 50s this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine throughout the day today. Partly cloudy skies by tonight. Temperatures down into the low 30s. We'll see a chance for scattered showers for your Thursday. High near 60, up into the upper 60s, if not low 70s by Friday, with more rain chances ahead. Storms possible this weekend. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. The best hair on the air. You are listening to Bishop and Friends.
So among the 17 Ohio State players participating at Pro Day today, you're going to get Ty Hamilton, Tyleik Williams, JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer. So what do you got to do in 2025? Well, you got to replace all that production up front. So the onus comes to Larry Johnson and a lot of guys who, while have talent, not a ton of game experience outside of just rotation roles. Now it's their turn to step up into the limelight, and the ask is only Texas week one. I mean, the similar conversation we've had about the quarterback. Similar situation that they'll have the running back room. It's not as if you're going to be able to wade into this season. Fortunately for the defensive line at Ohio State, Texas is going to be dealing with some replacements on their offensive line. So when you bring a newer Texas front into Ohio Stadium with Arch Manning at quarterback in his first start, it does give you plenty opportunity to get a lot of confidence going into the 2025 season. I was interested to hear from Larry Johnson first. And we will hear from Ohio State's defensive line coach. But then I heard from Caden Curry, senior defensive end, who is going to be one of those edge rushers that Ohio State's going to have to rely on a lot this season to make life miserable for guys like Arch Manning, talking about the 2024 National Championship banners and how maybe they can go away for a time being.
It fuels us every day. I mean, we don't really even want these banners on the wall because they kind of just show us that we are kind of like satisfied with what we have, and we're definitely still hungry. We still want more.
Makes you feel pretty good hearing that. If you're a coach, if you're an Ohio State fan, that these guys understand that the 2024 team won the national championship. The 2025 team now has the responsibility to defend.
You talk about all that production that you lose, and you have to find people to replace that. You also have to find people to replace that leadership.
Yep.
And when I hear Caden Curry say things like that, there's a guy that can help replace that leadership. When you hear things like that, that's a guy that's ready to, hey, last year was great. We've got goals this year to accomplish.
And you talk about the leadership void that's going to be left by Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau, because in times last season when you needed a play to be made, Jack Sawyer, JTT made the play. And I speak, of course, only forever the scoop and Sawyer in the Cotton Bowl against Texas. Here's Coach Johnson on that leadership void and who he thinks or who he expects or who he hopes could fill it.
I think it's about 4 or 5 guys really trying to check in the row. I think KJ's done a good job, and I think Caden Curry's there also, and then all of a sudden Tawan is starting to come to the front. So I think they realize it's got to be a group leadership thing to pull this together, and I kind of like what we're doing right now.
Again, you're only 5 practices in to a spring that I think the onus right now should be on just doing the most football that you can. A little install here and there, obviously, because you've got Matt Patricia and his defensive Bible that he wants to bring in. But a lot of this has to become fundamentals so you can get these guys ready to look the part in that spring. Now we're going to call it a spring game because you can't have poor fundamentals in the spring game.
And look, Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry have both played a lot of football at Ohio State. They haven't been starters, but that's the progression you would want, though, right? Is for those guys next in line to step up and be those leaders, too. But it doesn't always happen. It's nice to hear Coach Johnson talk about both of them there and say that, hey, these are guys that are stepping up. They're in that group of 4 or 5 guys that are stepping up in that leadership. He also mentioned a guy like Taiwan Malone, who hasn't played a ton of football here, but he is experienced in college football, transferred here from Ole Miss, and has been around the college game for a while. I think that's positive to hear. It's good to hear that those guys that you think would be ready to step up and take that leadership role are doing so.
And you're also thinking about Logan George, transfer from Idaho, who's you're gonna need everybody in this defensive line room. You're gonna need at some point in this season to make a play. You're gonna need at some point in this season to spell for one of your starters. So a lot of rotation, I think, is the hope. A lot of rotation is going to be the need. This is a 16-game season because I think, and we'll discuss a little bit more later on in the program just about where the college football playoff or what the college football playoff is going to look like this year. A lot of the same. But you have the roadmap, or you at least have the plan from what last year's team did in getting guys at least through that what would be January 19th for the 2026 national championship game, that long stretch that, shoot, when you're looking at Penn State on November 1st, there's still 3 months left in the season. So that long haul has got to put that on the coaching staff to make sure that everybody is ready at a moment's notice. And it's really, really interesting to me when you talk about a guy like C.J. Hicks, Edric Houston, we played one position last year. Now, Houston was interior, and he's going to move. He was at edge rusher, and he's going to move interior. Here's Houston on that move.
Well, I talked to Coach Jay. Coach Jay was the main one. He wasn't forcing me or nothing. He just said, if you want to move inside, you can. If not, stay at DN, then you can do that as well. But I saw that I could help the team out, get some depth right there, so I chose to move inside.
And you have C.J. Hicks, who spent a lot of time in the linebacker room, now will be at defensive end. He talks about that being a better fit for him.
100%. I feel like the change to edge fits my play style a lot more. It allows me to be more aggressive, and, when it's time to get to the quarterback, I can get to the quarterback. So I say all of that to say that this spring feels for those guys just trying to figure out the position first. Then little by little, you get defensive schemes, you get some install, and then when you start to open fall camp, you can start to really hammer in what you want to do as a unit.
And it's a smart move by Edric Houston, right? We saw him last year. He came in as a highly touted defensive end prospect. But the first thing I noticed when I saw him on the field last year were how broad his shoulders are. And he's a guy that I think is physically big enough that he can handle the interior. We saw him move to the interior last year and actually get some playing time. He found a spot to help the team out and get himself on the field, and he did that. And now he's probably an inside track here to be one of your starting defensive tackles this year with a guy like Caden McDonald. It's a great move. It's a selfless move for him. He could have went back to the outside this year, but he realized Kenyatta and Caden were there and that they were pretty good on the defensive ends, but they might have needed that help inside. So he's staying inside, and having that versatility of being able to play both will only help him in the future. And then C.J. Hicks, if you're a guy that is an outside type linebacker, that is a guy that goes and gets the quarterback, when you have a system that only plays 2 linebackers like Ohio State has had the past couple of years, that's tough for you. Now he's going to move to the defensive end spot where it's just, hey, see ball, get ball, go, attack, all systems go. And I think that's going to help C.J. Hicks immensely. We know that C.J. Hicks physically has the talent to do it. We just haven't seen him put it together on the field yet. This is a kid who was the number 2 recruit in the state of Ohio the year he came out. He is physically gifted. Now I think they're putting him in a spot to fully use his skills.
And I think it's, a tip of the cap to everybody involved, including Jim Knowles after that Oregon game, to simplify things defensively, is to have guys think a lot less. And when you're thinking less, you're playing faster. And for C.J. Hicks, that puts him in the best spot, like you said, not only to be the most productive for this Ohio State defense, but maybe make himself a good chunk of change in the NFL. Likely when you see him next season at Ohio State's Pro Day, he being, I don't want to put Abdul Carter on him, but of the talk of, hey, in the first round or the second round, you need a pass rusher, C.J. Hicks can be your guy. It also helps that a guy like Matt Patricia is the one coordinating all of this, as he's had so much experience in the NFL, coordinating defenses that are legendary with the New England Patriots. Here's Hicks talking about working with his new DC.
I love Coach Patricia. He's a great coach. I feel like his experience in the league and with all type of hybrid guys, it helps me in my skill set and what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, the argument doesn't have to be too complex or too long from Patricia to his players. I know what it takes to get to the league. Here's what I think you should do. Similarly with Larry Johnson, similarly with Tim Walton, similarly with James Laurinaitis. I know what it takes to get to the league. Here's what you need to be doing to get to that league. And in the steps taken to get to the NFL, you turn yourself into a phenomenal football player and a phenomenal teammate for this Ohio State team to win that national championship next year.
And we talk about these guys moving positions, right? And you mentioned Patricia and Walton and Laurinaitis with their experience in the league. They also know what skill sets translate to the league and where in the league. So these guys moving around positions, they're trusting these coaches to put them in the best spot for their future.
Real quick, to answer a question on the YouTube chat, Chris asks if 10 TV's airing the Pro Day or any other network. I don't believe 10 TV is going to have it. I know that we'll have cameras out there. Top Tegnamen are going to be filming footage that you'll see on probably the 5, 6, and 11 o'clock news tonight. I would imagine the NFL Network has a presence there, but they're not going to be carrying it like they did for Miami Showcase or like they're going to be doing for Colorado Showcase. But sure enough, you'll see a lot of footage, especially on social media, of what happens at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, starting at about 90 minutes. And remember, on the YouTube chat, on Twitter's where you want to send your Hey Guys questions. We'll read those at 11. Best one gets that $50 gift card to our friends at High Bank Distillery. I would say he's the best friend of the show because he's on it more than the three that actually work the show on a daily basis. Tyvis Powell participated in an Ohio State Pro Day. We'll get his thoughts on that money that you can't be dropping in 2 minutes. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
A Progressive Home and Auto Bundle can protect you round the clock, but we can't protect you from those painful moments in sports.
I can't believe they're moving the team to another city.
True, but you'll never forget all the joy they brought into your life.
Joy? They made the playoffs twice in 50 years.
Gosh, those 2 times were pretty great, weren't they?
How would I know? I wasn't even born yet.
Just think of all the free time you'll have on game days.
Those games were the highlight of my week.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Confidence is key this March, both in picking the right Cinderella teams for your bracket and the right contractor for your exterior project. When it comes to your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call the team you can trust, Newman Roofing. Call 614-NEW-ROOF today or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
Hey, Ohio State fans. While others cut corners, like that team up north, Valvoline Instant Oil Change is Buckeye-level quality. We train hard and treat every day like game day. We're always quick, but never rushed. And you can stay in your car while our experts do the work. Valvoline Instant Oil Change is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Visit valvoline.com/Buckeyes to find your nearest location and access exclusive fan savings.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could dump all your problems on someone else's back? Well, when you wake up to a clogged drain or a plumbing issue, make that Mr. Rooter's problem.
Call 855-MISTERS today or MrRooter.com.
Call Mr. Rooter. He'll be there quick.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
Didn't drop no money today.
We got now to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline to bring on a man who had his pro day with Ohio State. Didn't drop any money that day. Tyvis Powell, great friend of the program. Who of these 17 Buckeyes have the best opportunity today to make a bunch of money?
I think it would be a guy like Lathan Ransom. For some odd reason, that's a name that I just woke up thinking about. Between him and Cody Simon, I think that a lot of these guys didn't do the combine drills and things like that. So obviously, they'll get a chance to do it on their home turf, a place that they're familiar with, and hopefully we get some really fast times out there. But I think that would help these guys boost their stocks if they just have a very solid day. I think obviously the film speaks for itself, but sometimes you want to see how guys move without pads on, how their hips, how their feet is, and all of those things. And they'll be able to see that today.
Tyvis, I think it's interesting that you didn't mention Will Howard there. What do you think a good pro day today can do for Will Howard? Can he get up into that number 3 quarterback in this draft talk, or do you think he's pretty set where he's at?
No, I think he's pretty set where he's at. The thing about Will is, everybody kind of knows what Will is. He's a guy that still needs some growing, and like I said, it just depends on the organization that he goes to. He needs to go somewhere that's going to help him continue to grow. But I think today, when you look at him in pro day, only thing you want to see from him is you want to see him be how he looks when he's throwing to people that he actually know, that he actually has chemistry with. Because everybody talks about the combine, him throwing at the combine. One, those are people that he don't throw to, and two, I still believe he overthrew balls on purpose to try to say that he's got a strong arm. So to be out there with, Emeka, Jeremiah Smith, and, Brandon Ennis, Cardinal Tate, throwing to his guys, you'll be able to see like how he's able to hit these guys in rhythm, in stride, and things like that. And I think just a solid pro day like that will kind of help him, be where he is. But as far as him becoming quarterback number 3 in this draft, I'm not willing to say that, he's probably going to be able to move up that high.
So you got Emeka and Travion, who are going to be vying for running back 2, running back 3, even running back 1. I know Ashton Genty and Boise State are going to be holding their pro day today, Tyvis. What kind of things can Emeka or Quinshawn do just this morning from 11 to 3 is the window that could bump them over or around a guy like Genty?
Well, see, the running back that's really all just tape. Now, what they can show is obviously the ability to catch out the backfield and things like that, catching from Will. That would, make teams intrigued, because now you're thinking like for a guy like Quinshawn, a lot of people look at him like, oh, he's a first and second down or a short yardage guy. But if he's catching the ball out the backfield, okay, we can use this guy on third down. Both running backs have shown you that they are really great at pass blocking, which is something that you also need when you're on third down. So to me, I think a lot of their work has been done in the film room. They just need to stay healthy and show that they can move, and jump cut, and do those things that NFL team wants to see.
You mentioned health, and we obviously know Seth McLaughlin went down, missed a lot of the season this year. He was a guy, though, with his play early on, seemed to be really solidifying his spot as one of the top centers in the draft. How important is today for a guy like him that missed a lot of time because of injury?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he got hurt, because, this guy probably would have been maybe a first-round pick. And it's nice to see him, get the Remington Award and all those things. I think for him, because I imagine he's probably not working out. I would imagine when you pop your Achilles, it's going to be a while. For him, obviously, he'll probably do some benching, because he probably can do those things. And it's just the interview process. The good thing is, he was one of the best. Well, obviously, he was the best center in football last year. So that probably is going to go a long way for him. Just depends on where he's at in his rehab. Obviously, he's had the surgery and he's been rehabbing, just to see if he's ahead of schedule or if he's right on schedule, because now teams can be like, okay, if he popped it here, we can expect him back and maybe we can use him next year. Maybe we can use him in this upcoming year. If he's a guy that they're going to have to redshirt for a year, which that could possibly be a thing, at least teams will know that he could become a steal in the draft. He could become one of those guys that's like, all right, a lot of people are not going to be thinking about him because they want to use him right away. It will wait a year and know that we have a solid center.
Tyvis, when you think back to your pro day at Ohio State, was there anybody before you went out and did your workout that gave you some great advice? Was it maybe a position coach or a guy that had worked at Ohio State but went to the NFL? Like, do you remember anything from that day?
From pro day? Yeah. I'm going to tell you exactly what I remember from pro day. I remember going out there. We had Aaron Glenn, the head coach for the Jets now. Aaron Glenn was the guy that was taking us through position drills. And, before we worked out, I don't think it was that day. I think he came up like maybe a couple of days before. He obviously had us on the board. We did some board stuff, and him and I kind of got into like a little debate. Got into a little debate.
You disagreed with someone?
No, I didn't disagree with him. No, that's not what happened. Let me tell the world. Okay, so this is what happened. We were going over cover. I think it might have been cover 3. I'm pretty sure it was cover 3. And in college, we called it a buzz player. There they called it a curl flat player. And I kept saying buzz, and he was like, no, that's not the word. So I'm like, that's exactly what I'm doing. Like, so just because him and I had different terminology, he kept telling me I was wrong. But technically I knew what the assignment was. So that's why we got into it. It was kind of like frustrating. Like, I know what I'm talking about, but you just go act like because I ain't saying the words you want me to say. So that's what happened there. Anyways, fast forward to pro day, he was taking us through the drills, and it was funny because I knew that they liked Eli and I knew that they liked Vaughn. But Eli and Vaughn was scared to go first in drill. So they kept making me do the drill first. And I'm like, obviously, for people that don't know, you never really want to go first in the drills because you want to see somebody do it so you can watch your coach critique him so you know what to do when it's your turn. Anyways, I didn't have that luxury. I had to start off every drill. I had to be the captain and the leader and start every drill. So at the end of the day, my whole thing was I wanted to show everybody at 6'3" that I could move really well. 6'3", 205 or 210 pounds, whatever I was. I wanted to show them that I could move just as well as a guy that's 5'9" and 190, and I think I did a really good job of doing that. And I had some dropped interceptions on the season, so that's why when they say I ain't dropped no money today, I made sure I caught every pass because, like I said, I had some dropped interceptions on the season. So I wanted to clear that up.
Tyvis, I want to go back to your discussion with Aaron Glenn really quickly. Do you think there was any part of him that was having the verbiage disagreement with you just to see what your reaction would be? Like, are some of these NFL coaches coming in knowing they're going to test these college kids and more than just their football? Like, see if I can get him hot or see if I can get him flustered and how he responds to that?
100%. And you know what he did? He succeeded. He succeeded because I was really ticked off about it because I'm just like at the end of the day, I know my assignment. Like, maybe I'm not saying it correctly. Like, I'm not saying the word that you want to say, but I know what I'm doing. You put me on the field, I'll be in the right spot. And, like, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. So, yeah, he had me a little hot off of that. But obviously, I didn't try to show that too much. He tried to show that too much. But, yeah, I was hot.
Tyvis, at least you didn't argue with him about cane sauce and honey mustard. That might have been a whole different story. But who do you think of these Buckeyes today? You mentioned a couple who you think have a lot to gain. Who do you think has the best showing in a pro day type atmosphere?
Jeremiah Smith.
That doesn't count.
I had wondered if he might just go out there and mess around just for the show.
This is the thing. They always make the younger guys go out there and do it a year or two early. So when their pro day comes, that they, are able to just have a great day. So I say all that to say I think Emeka has the best day because, one, Emeka's done this already. He's done it. I think he done it with CJ, and I think he did it last year, if I remember. Yeah, I think he did it last year. So for him, he already knows what to expect. So therefore, I think that today could really, depending on what his time is, because they're going to be on his 40 time, which is, I hope is good. He could really find himself being one of those guys that sneaks into the late or the back half of the first round. You know, right now I've looked at a lot of mocks, and none of the mocks have him really mocked in the first round. But I think if he has a really solid showing today, he's one of those guys that can find their way in the first round. So it's a lot riding on Emeka today.
Tyvis, I just have one question before we let you go. Did the Titans tip their hand with the contingent they sent to Miami for Cam Ward's pro day, or is it just due diligence, you think?
No, I think it's due diligence, and I think that due to the fact that they want to work him out again, I seen a report that came out that they want to work him out again privately. Like, to me, you should. Maybe they're not as sold on him as they think, because why you need to see it again if you just saw it, you know? So, or maybe they're just being extra cautious, where they're like, you know, this is a guy that we want to invest our franchise in, so we need to see him as much as possible. So that could be a thing too. But I don't know. To me, they kind of leaving the door open for a team to trade to up to one.
Well, Tyvis, we appreciate you taking some time to work out for us this morning. Are you on with Rothman and Ice today, or what's your schedule?
I will be on Man and Bone today and Friday. So do not nominate me for Tool of the Week, no matter what Baker says.
It's happening.
And tomorrow I'll be doing the Buckeye Show with Tim May.
All right. Well, look, it's only a nomination. It doesn't mean you're going to win it. That comes, honestly, I think you and Timmy, or you and Tito, when you're hosting on Friday, you might get to decide your own fate. But Tyvis Powell, friend of the program, hear him from 3 to 6 on Man and Bone. Thanks for the time this morning, bud.
See y'all later. Go Bucks.
And he joins us courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. There was something that Tyvis had said about the young receivers, the Buckeyes who will be looking to repeat for a national championship, that are participating today, leading me to believe that maybe Jeremiah Smith shouldn't do anything at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. I'll discuss that with Baker next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Did you know even the smallest increase in mortgage rates can cost you thousands of dollars over the life of your loan? Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. It's true, even a 0.25% change in rate can cost you thousands of dollars over the life of your mortgage. But with Third Federal's new Early Rate Lock, you don't have to take chances. Early Rate Lock is the only pre-approval that locks in your rate at pre-approval, even before you find a house. Plus, we're so confident that our rates are the lowest, if you find a lower rate, we'll beat it or give you $1,000. And now through April 15th, get pre-approved with Third Federal and we'll pay all of your closing costs. So don't wait. Call Third Federal today.
Right now at Third Federal, even before you find a home, lock in 6.50%, APR 6.56% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. Zero closing costs on low-cost loans only. See conditions for lowest rate guarantee at thirdfederal.com. Equal housing lender.
Guys, it's D. Miller. Let's talk about feeling your best. If you don't feel the same energy, strength, maybe feeling moody, or it seems you lost your drive with your partner, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer, and you'll find true experts at Low T Center. Getting tested is fast and easy. Don't settle for a standard doses TRT program. I learned about the personalized therapy at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
We're catching up with that famous deep-sea explorer, Jacques Black-Jacques. Jacques, where are you today? You're in Columbus. What could you possibly be exploring in Columbus?
The April showers bring flooding to bad moons.
Oh, I see. Spring rains mean basements are flooding.
This not necessary. Apex Pros.
Not necessary. Call Apex Pros.
A simple zoom pump chick.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding this. Zoom pump
chick.
Sump pump check. Are you saying sump pump check? Yes, of course. A sump pump check from the pros who knows at Apex Pros.
They come to your house.
They come to your house.
They test your zoom pump.
They test your, what is it again? Zoom pump. Sump pump, right.
All with a 5-star guarantee.
All with a 5-star guarantee. Now, see, I understood that perfectly.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Are you sick of the Ohio winter weather like me? Well, spring camping is almost here, and deals are blooming at RCD RV. From March 15th through the 29th, take advantage of our spring savings event. Over 800 new and pre-owned RVs in stock. Let us help plan a springtime adventure for you. New travel trailers starting as low as $12,995. Campers for every single budget. Visit the locations, Delaware, Heath, and Pataskala, or shop online at rcdrv.com. Don't wait. RCD RV is your destination for springtime adventure.
The tournament is underway. Is your bracket a big pile of trash like mine? Big voice guy took it on the chin this year. Anyway, check your standings in the Fan and 10 TV Bracket Challenge.
Sponsored by Mountain Dew, Ohio Bottled Buckeye Bowl.
The most accurate bracket, not mine, will take home $1,000. Check your progress at 971thefan.com. Wasting time has never been more fun. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution specialists.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Reeser Baker Cole, an Only Friends edition of the program. We got you for the next 3 days, today, tomorrow, and Friday, but we'll be back on Monday. Our thanks to Tyvis Powell for the time in the previous segment. If you missed him or anything else from this program or a previous program, at WBNS Radio on YouTube, or wherever you do your podcasting, Bishop and Friends podcast comes about a half an hour after every show. If you're going to give it a review, it has to be 5 stars, or Baker and his khaki shorts will come and get you. It doesn't even matter the month.
That is right.
November, December, January, Baker and his khakis will show up and they will get you.
It's always shorts weather.
So just give the 5-star review if you do know what's best for you. What's best for these receivers working out today? And I mean Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate, Brandon Inniss. Ryan Day said yesterday that it was going to be Tate and Inniss that would be catching passes, along with the running backs who are working out for NFL scouts, along with Egbuka, who hopes to be wide receiver 1, a first-round pick in April's draft. It's 29 days away in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I had said last week that I thought, you know, when you do these events, you want to showcase everybody and you want to showcase your best. I don't think, when I said that, I thought, you know, if you put Jeremiah Smith out there, you can put on a show for everybody. You can give Will Howard his favorite target. You can give that sexy deep ball that all the NFL teams clamor for. But in doing so, I do think that would hurt Emeka Egbuka. I do think that would hurt Carnell Tate and Brandon Inniss. You do not need to put Jeremiah Smith on any workout field ever. Baker, you made the astute point in the break. If Jeremiah Smith was eligible to go to the NFL, the Tennessee Titans would have already filled out that draft card. Then it would be Jeremiah Smith. He doesn't need to do anything for anybody almost anymore. And he's a no-doubter in the NFL. I think for Carnell Tate, for Brandon Inniss, for Emeka Egbuka, today's for them. More so Egbuka, but also for Tate and Inniss to prepare them for next year and their pro day and the NFL scouting combine. Jeremiah Smith could go out and be fine in all of those right now.
1,000%, right? Like if Jeremiah Smith was allowed to enter his name in the NFL draft, he's the number one pick in the draft, and it's probably not even close. You don't have to go talk to any of these teams. You don't have to work out for any of these teams. There's probably some that would have drafted him in the top 5 before he even played a down of college football, right? Just straight out of high school. He's just that kind of guy. So, yeah, why not give these meaningful reps to some other guys that it can really help? Emeka Egbuka, he's the showcase today. That's what you want to focus on, because you want this guy to be a first-round pick in the NFL. That's why he came back for a senior season for you. He came back to win a national championship. Check. That one's marked. That's done. And then he wanted to be a first-round pick. If he goes out there and performs today, there's a good chance that he is. And I don't understand why he wouldn't be. We've talked about this on the show. We've talked about this off the show, Reese. I think Emeka Egbuka with Mason Graham is about as safe as a pick as there is in this draft, because you know what you are getting.
Yeah, and it's similarly for Will Howard. You know, I'd also said if in a situation where Will's done throwing, but they still want to, see some balls caught by any of these pass catchers, G. Scott, Travion, Quinshon, then you have Julian Sain out there throwing. But I don't necessarily know kind of the same conversation we were having about Jeremiah and how just his freakish athletic ability and natural talent would outshine some of these other guys. Maybe that's the same thing for Julian and for Will, because we here obviously want to build the statue for Will Howard and what he did in the college football playoff. But from a pure talent perspective, I don't think there are too many people that are saying that Will's quarterback ability is better than Julian Sain's raw quarterback ability.
And with that, for a guy like Julian, I don't want him worrying about this. I want him focusing on becoming the starting quarterback at Ohio State. He doesn't need this distraction today to be out there in front of these NFL scouts performing and having to worry about that. He needs to worry about Lincoln Keenholz right now, and both of them need to worry about trying to be the best they can to be the best starter for this football team.
Right, and similarly for Jeremiah Smith. You guys focus on tomorrow's practice. It'll be the 6th of the spring. Again, things will culminate on April 12th, the Ohio State spring game. I think we can now all call it, because that's what Ryan Day wants it to be. FanDuel's got updated national championship odds for the 2025 season. Ohio State's got a slight edge over Texas and Oregon. The Buckeyes are plus 600 to win the championship game next January the 19th, 2026. It'll be at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, which pretty much tells me right now as we get into the spring, they're going to keep things at 12 this year. And then maybe later in the summer, they have an announcement of what the 2026 college football playoff will look like. I'd imagine it's going to get an expansion in the next couple of years, but for 2025, your CFP is 12 teams. Texas and Oregon, that plus 650. Georgia's plus 700. Penn State plus 800. Notre Dame's plus 1,200. A couple other Big Ten schools with odds right now that are in the top 20. Michigan plus 2,800. Indiana plus 10,000. Nebraska plus 12,000. Kind of feels like it's now or never for Matt Rule in this squad.
I feel like it's never, frankly, because I think it's more leaning never now now.
Boy.
And I will say this, if you like those odds for Ohio State there at plus 600, I think you should go jump on those, because at a lot of other places, it's not that much. At a lot of places, Ohio State is plus 450. Like I'm looking at ESPN Bet right now. Ohio State plus 450, Texas plus 500, Georgia plus 600, Oregon plus 750. So if you like one of those teams, go ahead and search around, and maybe those are the best odds you can get, and go ahead and jump on it. I'll tell you what, Ohio State at 6-1 sure sounds better than plus 450.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see, because I'm going to save this as we're just the end of March and kind of see where things stand once fall camp opens coming up in August. The Buckeyes landed a gigantic fish on Tuesday. We'll tell you about it next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that, and often we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find that your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make the change for good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. That's tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever for a single line. Just $45 per month when you bring your phone, which is less than you spend on Too Tired to Cook takeout every week. Get one line on Unlimited Welcome for $45 per month with autopay plus taxes and fees. Visit your local Columbus Verizon store by April 2nd to save. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on Unlimited Welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH. That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Common Man here. I take my job as endorser for Germain Lexus very seriously. I want to make sure that every Lexus on the lot meets my expectations. That's why I personally sit in each one. I massage the leather. Sometimes I take a nap in the back seat. If that's not a selling point, I don't know what is. Deal time. Lease the 2025 ES350 for as low as $409 per month or get 3.49% financing up to 60 months on their most popular new Lexus models. 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton. Check them out online, GermainLexus.com.
The best matchup is you in a new Kia from Coughlin Kia. Get into a new Kia now with $0 down. Get 0% financing on select new Kias and make 0 payments for 3 months on any new Kia in stock. Visit CoughlinKia.com.
0% for 72 equals $1,389 per 1,000 financed on Nero EV, EV6, and EV9 with approved credit through Kia Motor Finance. 90 days deferred payments until June 2025. Qualified manufacturer incentives to dealer. Prior sales excluded. No security deposit. Residency restrictions may apply. Offers cannot be combined. See dealer for details. Ends 3/31/25.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring is here, and it's time to refresh your yard with Ohio Mulch. With 15 convenient locations in Central Ohio, it's easier than ever to get mulch ready for the season. Now through April 5th, get 5 bags of red, black, or brown mulch for just $10.95. Need it delivered? No problem. Save $50 on home delivery when you order online. Visit OhioMulch.com today and spruce up your yard with the best.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply, greener, greener, better.
Breaking news. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever. That's 4 lines on Unlimited Welcome for just $25 a line per month with autopay plus taxes and fees. You'll also get the new iPhone 16 Pro, 4 of them for the entire family when you trade in up to 4 phones from our top brands. That's a new phone for everyone, only on the network you can count on. Verizon. Visit a store today. 20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on Unlimited Welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply for phone offer. See Verizon.com for details.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. 17 Buckeyes will put their talents on display for NFL scouts and evaluators this morning at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Ohio State's annual pro day begins around 11 o'clock. All 32 teams are expected to be in attendance. Current Buckeyes Carnell Tate and Brandon Innes will also participate, catching passes from quarterback Will Howard. The NFL draft is 29 days away in Green Bay, Wisconsin. In NFL news, former Seahawks and Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson signed a one-year deal with the Giants. The quarterback room in New York is now Russ, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito. Giants have the third pick in next month's draft. In the NBA last night, the Cavaliers won in Portland, beating the Trailblazers 122-111. The magic number is now 6 for Cleveland to clinch that top seed in the Eastern Conference. And in the NHL, the Blue Jackets are back at Nationwide Arena on Friday, hosting the Vancouver Canucks. Jackets are 2 points out of a wild card spot. Here, Blue Jackets hockey and breaking sports news when it happens, all on the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Just Friends edition of the program today. This first Friday, the final first Friday in the month of March. Reeser, Baker, Cole rolling along until noon. At 11 o'clock, we'll get your Hey Guys questions out. Get them in. YouTube, Twitter, at 971BFS. Our favorite will get that $50 gift card and the distillery tour and tasting for up to 10 people to our great friends at High Bank Distillery.
Saw one that I like over on the YouTube chat already.
All right. So, yeah, the beauty of the YouTube chat is we can answer things live when we see them, or at least the ones that we can say on the air. Like this one from Jake, a statue for Will Howard. Really? When you're a quarterback and you win the national championship at Ohio State, that's how people clamor for you. It's almost statuesque. Now, no, you're not going to actually make the casing and erect the actual statue. Those are actually reserved for Woody Hayes and one Archie Griffin. But you're a legend here as long as you live. If you are the quarterback to win a national championship. Like the winningest quarterback, J.T. Barrett. But
Will Howard's never paying for a drink in this town ever again.
It's just how you're revered in this city. You are talking about odds for the national championship next season, and you love Clemson at 20-1 for the Tigers. Phil chimes in saying Bo's been on that wave since the season ended.
I just think at those odds with what they bring back, there's only 3 head coaches in college football with a national championship. Yeah. Kirby Smart, Dabo Swinney, and Ryan Day now. So we can say what we want, and it seems like they've kind of adjusted. That was the one drawback, right, is they weren't bowing down to the new style of college athletics. They didn't like the transfer portal and NIL, and they've seemed to switch on that a little bit. They've also they're one of the few teams with a proven quarterback coming back. And Cade Klubnik had a Heisman-type season last year. His numbers were really, really good. 36 touchdown passes, only 6 interceptions. So you're bringing him back. You also have 81% of your production coming back at 20-1 with an easy schedule like they have. They've got LSU to start. Then after that ACC schedule isn't very tough. I think it's worth a little at 20-1.
Yeah, LSU is also having their pro day today along with Boise State. It's the Ashton Genty show, right? He's looking to make his final argument for why he should be running back one in the NFL draft. Ohio State, again, going in about an hour. 17 Buckeyes are going to be looking to put their talents on display. Every NFL team likely represented. Some teams going to bring several, because not only does this give you a good look at who's available in Green Bay this upcoming April, but you kind of get a chance to get your foot in the door and talk to Ohio State coaches. I'm sure Matt Patricia knows probably everybody coming into town today, and you get a chance, same with Ryan Day, same with James Laurinaitis, same with Brian Hartline. You get a chance to talk to guys that might be coming down the pipeline. I mean, this is all for those 17 guys working out, but you keep that door open for Ohio State to say, like, hey, who's coming next? Who you got? What's this C.J. Hicks guy we keep hearing about? And then we had Tyvis on at 9:30. We're going to have Jake Trotter's going to be live at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center this morning. We'll talk to him at 10:30. But, Tyvis recalled Aaron Glenn at his pro day. Him and Glenn got into it about just semantics, NFL jargon and college football jargon, likely different. Probably a little bit more similar now as you've got more meshing of the two. Like Bill Belichick's the head coach at UNC. He's probably using all NFL terminology. And some of the guys that are retained from the roster with Mac Brown, I don't know how much NFL terminology they're using, but it's probably closer than it ever been before.
You would think so. And anytime, we've seen this before with Ohio State, right, Reese? Whenever NFL scouts are there for whatever it is, we remember the NFL scouts talking about who's that when they saw Chase Young as a freshman on campus.
Just a guy working out. I'm like, whoa.
You know, so they get that already. They see these guys and they're like, wait a second. And they're already like that, as we talked about with Jeremiah Smith. Now they're going to get a chance to do that with a Carnell Tate and a Brandon Ennis. And it's really nice for these guys to get that exposure, to get to know these NFL guys. And I'm sure it's different than it used to be. Like they probably already have some kind of relationship or know them or whatnot. But it is nice just to start building that stuff for the future.
Tyvis had also said that he didn't think Seth McLaughlin was going to be doing anything or much of anything today in terms of on-field drills, but it's likely time where he can resume some football activities after that Achilles injury he suffered in practice in preparation for the college football playoff. We're also going to have Josh Fryer, Donovan Jackson, and Josh Simmons, who suffered an injury back in October in that game against Oregon, likely the first time for him to kind of get back out on the field and showcase his ability for NFL talent evaluators. So Ohio State could have all four of those guys will get drafted. It's only really a matter of when and where. And Ohio State's, I think, done a great job over the past couple of years of picking out. I don't know if the guys have hit, but getting the 4 stars, getting the 3 stars, getting the best linemen from the state of Ohio or some of the best linemen from the Buckeye State and keeping them in Columbus. And that trend continued yesterday as Sam Greer, a 4-star offensive tackle from Akron's Archbishop Hoban, committed to the Buckeyes. He's the 188th overall prospect and the 17th highest ranked tackle in the class of 2026. All 6'7" and 300 pounds of him. He picked Ohio State over Florida, Missouri, Tennessee. So anytime's great when you can get a guy to stay in state. And while he's got offers from those SEC schools, he'd rather be a Buckeye. He's the second offensive lineman commit since Tyler Bowen took over. Maxwell Riley, a 4-star offensive tackle from Avon Lake, committed 2 weeks ago. So the Buckeyes doing a great job right now of keeping that offensive line talent in state. And 6'7", 300 pounds, that's a monster as a junior.
Very monster. He's a big kid. I've actually seen him play in person before. He would have been a sophomore when I saw him play. But yes, a very big kid, pretty athletic too for his size. So it's a good gift for Ohio State. It's interesting. Justin Fry, who has moved on now to the Arizona Cardinals, took a lot of slings and arrows over his time here with the offensive line, and a lot of it was about recruiting, and maybe you weren't getting the top guys in the nation. But the one thing you were doing while he was here, and it's continuing now with Tyler Bowen, is you were getting the top guys in the state of Ohio. For this 2026 class, you've got the top 2 linemen. In 2025, Carter Lowe out of Toledo Whitmer was the top-ranked lineman in the class from Ohio. You got him. Now, you didn't get the top guy in 2024, but you did get the Armstrong brothers, who were both ranked in the top 5 of the state of Ohio. In 23, you got the 3 topped linemen in Ohio with Luke Montgomery, Josh Padilla, and Austin Sareveld. 2022, Tegra Shabola was the top guy in the state of Ohio. You got him. So it's kind of like what we talked about in basketball, Reese. Can you get the top guys in Ohio, and are those top guys good enough? That's 2 different arguments, right? But what you're doing, you expect Ohio State to do, is get the top guys in the state of Ohio and then go get the other pieces you need nationally. Ohio State has done that. Justin Fry took a lot of guff about his recruiting, but he did good in the state of Ohio.
Well, and just even how that offensive line performed on the field. I mean, you had to reshuffle it several times last season. And in doing that, you won a national championship. You know, you thought I at least thought when Simmons goes down that it was going to be a very tough row to hoe if you wanted to make it into the college football playoff.
You thought that was it, right? That was the one guy you couldn't afford to lose.
And then Seth McLaughlin goes down. I'm like, well, this certainly you can't lose the Remington. I mean, he was. I don't know if the Remington finalists had been announced at the time he suffers his Achilles injury, but certainly you realize that he was one of the top interior linemen in the country and certainly up for that award. And when he goes down, I had wondered even then, like, can they survive it twice? Not only did they survive it, they won the national championship. And I think that's one of the reasons why Josh Fry went off to the NFL is because his talent at developing and preparing offensive line talent was, so heavily sought after. I'm looking at the class of 2026 rankings. It's so early that we're doing this because Cole had a list yesterday about top commits in the classes of 2026 and 2027. And a lot of the last names are names you've heard before of NFL stars back in the late 90s, 2000s, and the 20-teens. Makes you feel old. And this class of 2026, again, with those names, those commits, I think it was the tight end for the Cowboys, whose name's escaping me. His son received an offer. Jason Witten's son had received an offer from Ohio State, and that was this past Monday. Now, these commits for Ohio State in the class of 26, just 6 of them, with the addition of Sam Greer, it's just a commitment. I don't know if that means anything anymore because you want to get these guys on campus and you want them to sign even the letter of intent, Baker. Doesn't necessarily mean anything.
None of it means anything.
Because who's to say that if you sign the LOI, you don't just get the lawyer to say, no, that's invalid. Because it's not a contract. It's more than a verbal, but it isn't much. So it kind of goes back to our conversation yesterday of how are you trying to keep these guys, especially with revenue sharing, especially with name, image, and likeness, feels the best way out of this is contracts. Contracts for these players. But schools are going to go kicking and screaming, and you're likely going to get like 15 more sessions in front of Congress before they just kind of realize that that's the trek that you're having to have. That's the trail you're going to have to walk down. I do want to have Cole regurgitate some of those names, and we'll kind of see where they're at least committed to coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Scott the Scots here. How did the grass feel when it woke up from winter? A little crabby. Get it? Crabgrass? Right now, there's a short window of time to apply Scott's Turf Builder Halt's Crabgrass Preventer. It stops crabgrass before it invades and feeds your lawn for a fast green up after winter. Act now to prevent your grass from waking up crabby this spring. That joke never gets old. But trust me, crabgrass does.
Get a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Halt's Crabgrass Preventer with lawn food today.
Feed your lawn. Feed it.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. Are you sick of the Ohio winter weather like me? Well, spring camping is almost here, and deals are blooming at RCD RV. From March 15th through the 29th, take advantage of our spring savings event. Over 800 new and pre-owned RVs in stock. Let us help plan a springtime adventure for you. New travel trailers starting as low as $12,995. Campers for every single budget. Visit the locations, Delaware, Heath, and Pataskala, or shop online at rcdrv.com. Don't wait. RCD RV is your destination for springtime adventure.
We're in Raising Cane's with the man that started it all.
Wait, are you the Yes Chef guy?
We got chicken fingers, crinkle cut fries, Texas toast, and their world famous cane sauce. Could shed a tear right now.
Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Hey, nice job, Pete. I like those clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but, they outnumber me, man.
Whoa, that's a lot of glitter paint.
Let's trade lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone, any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Austin Ward here, fired up for warm weather, golf season, longer days, more time outside.
Ride the momentum and finally drop the weight you keep saying you will. With Awaken 180, it's fast, easy, and we're all proof that it works. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
The Jackets are fighting for a playoff spot, and they need your help. Send your supportive love waves through the radio by listening to Jackets coverage here on The Fan. If they lose, it's your fault. No pressure. The Fan.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move, a pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Hey there, Central Ohio. I'm 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Michael Behrens. We're looking at sunshine and 50 this afternoon. Clouds increase this evening ahead of a few sprinkles that could be possible. Low 30s tonight. We'll be in the upper 50s Thursday. Day starts dry with sun, then scattered showers are possible by the afternoon and evening. Temperature near 70 Friday with showers and thunderstorms possible. Drying out by Friday night. More showers and storms possible for the weekend. That's your latest 10 Weather Impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
An ex-jock and a very puffy, smooth-faced man. These are the first voices you should hear. Morning Juice. Your wake-up service.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan. First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
In about 13 minutes from now, we'll go out to the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. ESPN's senior college football reporter Jake Trotter is one of a couple hundred that'll be in attendance for Ohio State's Pro Day. Ryan Day said it yesterday. If you've got a position that you need filled on your NFL roster, Ohio State's a pretty good place to get that position filled. A lot of guys looking to see if they could go in the first or second rounds. Will Howard likely in competition to be QB3, taken in April's draft. I think his ceiling in the NFL is QB2, but that's a guy that you can trust, that can be a good teammate, a locker room leader, that can have a 10-year career. I mean, certainly as you see the money that's given out for quarterback play, he can certainly earn. You know, Justin Fields got $30 million guaranteed. We'll talk about Russell Wilson, and I have no idea how a quarterback room that features Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito is going to go, but I don't have a good feeling about it, especially if the Giants draft at 3, a quarterback, and he's got to go into that. I don't know if that's necessarily the best for his development. But looking, as we did in the last segment, at Ohio State's class of 2026, it's 15th right now for 24/7 Sports' rankings. It's still early. Like, we're a long way from December when the hay's going to be in the barn then. The top class is USC. They've got 15 commits already. And I know for Ohio State, the highest-ranked player in the class is Chris Henry's son, Chris Henry Jr. He's playing out in California. He's committed to Ohio State, but he's got official visits. Oregon, USC, Miami, Florida are on the docket. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? So while there's a verbal, and there's verbals for a lot of these teams. USC, Clemson, LSU, Texas A&M are the top 4. Kansas is 5. Now, if you look at the average rating of these prospects, these verbals, 92.72 is what USC's got on average. Kansas, 87.3. They've got 11 3-stars that kind of make up that class. For Ohio State, the average is 93.49.
Yeah, so if you look at this in 24/7 Sports, they kind of combine it with the number of commits you have and the average stars, right? If you look at it by the player average, Ohio State with their 6 sits 4th right now, behind LSU, Texas, and Oregon. LSU 94.33, Texas 93.89, but they only have 3 commits so far. Oregon 93.7, and then Ohio State with that 93.49. And again, Reese, like we talked about, this could all change tomorrow.
Yeah, all it takes is an official visit to a campus, and they give you an offer or give your family an offer that's more than the school that you've committed to. Like I look at Arkansas, that's going to be quarterbacking Madden Iamalieva in 2025, or at least he's their quarterback commit for that class. The Hogs have 10 players committed verbally as of right now, and Malieva, brother of Nico Iamalieva, the quarterback from Tennessee, who Ohio State bludgeoned in the first round of the college football playoff, they had to give him reportedly $8 million to do that. And so this is as free agency as it gets, especially now with the NCAA saying we're not going to enforce if you want to induce a high school student to come play for your school. But Cole did a great job with this list of names we know, players we really don't, coming up in the next 3 draft classes. We talked about Chris Henry Jr., not draft classes, but recruiting classes in 2026. Devin Fitzgerald is now college eligible. He's a 3-star wide receiver in the class of 2026 as an official to UCLA. You've got in the class of 2027, Gunnar Rivers, son of Chargers quarterback Phillip Rivers. He's the 2nd highest ranked quarterback in the class of 2027 from the state of Alabama. Likely not going to NC State, you think?
I mean, I don't know, right? You've seen a lot of these kids go where their dads go. Jerome Bettis Jr. is going to go to Notre Dame. So you never know. I mean, sometimes that legacy thing matters more than anything else.
Colton Nussmeier as the 14th overall player and the 2nd highest ranked quarterback out of Texas for the class of 2027. His brother is quarterbacking the LSU Tigers, one Garrett Nussmeier. So he'll have everybody and their grandma after him. Again, just looking at those in 2027. Back to 2025, guys that are likely committed. Ryan Montgomery, he was the 5th highest ranked player in the state of Ohio. He was 180 overall. He's going to be doing his quarterbacking at Georgia. His brother's Luke Montgomery for the football Buckeyes.
And if you remember, he and Tavian St. Clair were in the running, and a lot of people at the time had Ryan Montgomery higher than Tavian St. Clair. When Tavian St. Clair got his offer from Ohio State, that's when Ryan Montgomery decided to head to Georgia.
Gosh, it's just looking at these names, like, I'm old. I mean, yes, it was yesterday when we had the stat about the NCAA tournament. That first weekend had the highest viewing, or had the best numbers in 32 years, like since 1993. Yes, 1993 was 32 years ago. So, I don't know how you feel about that. I don't feel great.
I mean, listen, if you feel old, I'm feeling a lot older.
I mean, Cole, you know most of these NFL players. I mean, how much of, trying to see, Robert Gathers, do you remember?
Yeah, he played for the Bengals for a while, defensive lineman. His son is a 4-star out of Charlotte. I will say this as well. I think Achilles Smith was drafted before I was born.
Okay.
Just to make you feel even older. But his son is on his way to Oregon, so there are a lot of legacies in the next few. And one that also caught my eye because he's kind of fun, and his brother's fun too. Dax DeJean in the 2027 class. 6'6", brother of Cooper DeJean. That is quite the talented family, and they're from a small town. It's not even in a metropolitan area. And so I don't know what they got going on there.
Now, Cooper was a heck of a basketball player. I'm guessing Dax at 6'6", maybe even a more highly recruited basketball player, possibly.
Possibly. And I know that Cooper was also listed as an athlete, I assume, for either receiver or quarterback on the opposite side. But, I mean, if you're 6'6", you're not playing defensive back at the next level. And he's like a 6'6", 210, I think is what he's listed as. So probably going to be a wide receiver, but a lot of names that we know.
Or maybe one of those guys that, like a Sam Hubbard, they transition into a defensive end type role, an edge rusher guy.
If you can put some beef on him, for sure. I mean, Sonny Styles was really, really thin at Pick Central. And so,
but he had that frame, and they knew.
And they put a bunch of weight on him, and look at him now.
Now, I was 8 when this happened, but Achilles Smith went 3rd overall to the Bengals.
It was
and that
1999.
Tim Couch draft.
I
Donovan
remember it
McNabb
well.
went 2 to the Eagles. David Boston went 8th overall to the Arizona Cardinals. There's your trip down memory lane.
I was 2 months old.
You were 2 months. Okay, April 17th. Yeah.
We can't mute his mic, can we?
He can mute ours.
Only he has control of that.
He's got really all the power here. This was back when the NFL draft was at the theater at Madison Square Garden. I think I prefer that more than how the draft's done now, where you did it there at Radio City Music Hall. We kind of had the more intimate environment and only the crazy fans would go. Now it just feels like they've got people in pens watching goofballs on stage. And I can't imagine. Someone correct me if they've been
I have.
To a draft experience. Could you hear up on the stage when you were like far enough back of the people?
Okay.
Which one did you go to
Cleveland.
first? Okay.
But we were there earlier in the day, and then we went to a bar later. But I will say...
so you didn't stick around for the first pick in the draft?
No. So there are two different areas. There's the lower bowl area where they have it kind of sequestered off by each team, and they have their own little, group of what appears to be like 20 fans from each team. And then way in the back, they have the back row. And that's where it's just, you walk up and get in where you fit in type stuff. And that is where you are like, whoa, I am far away from this stage. Like Roger Goodell, I mean, you would barely be able to see him. So
yeah, I wonder, like, for those...
wasn't that worth it to hang out there?
Who would make the trek to Green Bay for a similar setting, if it would even be worth it. I do know, I at least think that in 2020, the draft was supposed to be on the fountain of the Bellagio, and they were going to have boats.
That's correct.
Bring the picks up to the stage in front of the exploding fountains. Well, that's a cool gimmick. If you can make that work, then the world shut down, so they never did that one. But that, I think, would be the only way for me you would move it out of what I like is like the controlled chaos and intimate experience you had at Radio City Music Hall or at the theater right next to Madison Square Garden.
It's funny because when you said that, I was like, yeah, I understand that. But I do think the draft, like when they did it in Nashville, that was probably really cool and probably a good setup for it. And Nashville's a town that's used to stuff like that. Sure. Vegas is a place that immediately comes to mind where they would be able to handle that and make it work. No, Detroit, Cleveland, Green Bay. It doesn't seem so much. But I will say this, you're going to have some wild fans in Green Bay, I bet, for this draft.
Yeah, I mean, the camera shots will be kind of wacky because it does take a certain type of fan to get all painted up, all fan geared up to go and watch names right off a card.
This will be the biggest monolith for sure in terms of percentage of your city who shows up rooting for just one team. Like, where are you going to find the Raiders portion in Green Bay, Wisconsin? Are fans from all over the country going to be flocking to Green Bay? Or they'd be like, you know what, I'll catch it in the next cool city that we go to?
Yeah, you would think not, but I think crazy, rabid football fans, they think of Lambeau and the frozen tundra like that is football a lot of times.
It'll be snowing in April there?
I think you are going to have a select group of fans from each team that show up there. And
I mean, I guess you gotta, but yeah, I think it's going to be overwhelming. It's always going to be, whichever the home city is, overwhelming majority of that team. But this was going to be as close to 100% as you could possibly get in any city.
Yeah, 2026 is going to be in Pittsburgh. What do you think would be a better show? The Pat McAfee's One Night at PPG Paints, or wherever they're going to put the NFL draft in the Steel City?
Oh, I think the McAfee thing would be off the charts, right?
Especially if they do the Rodgers thing there.
That'd be...
They're buddies.
You know what?
You never know.
If we bomb this season and we're drafting the top 10 next year, I might go.
Oh, I mean, as a Steelers fan, yes. If you're a top 5 pick and it becomes, or you are somehow involved in the Arch Manning sweepstakes, yeah, then that becomes an absolute Pittsburgh Steeler fan takeover if it wasn't going to be in 2026 already. It is an NFL takeover of the Woody Hayes Athletic Center today. All 32 teams will be in attendance for Ohio State's Pro Day that gets going in about 30 minutes. In 2 minutes, we'll get Jake Trotter on and get his thoughts of the 17 Buckeyes and what else could happen at the top of the 2025 draft in April. That's next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Everybody poops, everybody pees. Mommy, will you call Mr. Rooter, please? 'Cause I gotta poop and I gotta pee. Only Mr. Rooter can clear the drain for me. Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
Hi, everybody. We call it what it is at Mr. Rooter. When you have a plumbing or drain problem, the team at Mr. Rooter is ready 7 days a week. Call us today and take advantage of our $95 drain cleaning special. Visit us at MrRooter.com. We'll be there quick.
Hey guys, it's Anthony Rothman. Let's talk about feeling your best. If you don't feel that same energy, strength, maybe you're feeling moody or it seems you've lost your drive with your partner, it could be low testosterone. You have to go see the true experts at Low T Center. Getting tested is fast and easy. I learned all about the personalized therapy at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. So don't put it off any longer. Go to lowtcenter.com and book that appointment. lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, three-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, two-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to LifeSearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit LifeSearch.com today.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Let me introduce you to a man with a magnificent salt and pepper beard. A man who's currently roasting lamb on a spit. A man who runs the Rocky River Greek Festival. That man is Jake Trotter.
Efforting ESPN senior college football reporter. My guess is if there's as many people as predicted at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center getting a cell signal or at least getting parking, might be an endeavor all in of itself today, but we'll try to get Jake on sometime in the next couple of minutes because I'm very interested in what his thoughts are of talking to so many people pre-draft in this process of how they feel about all of these Buckeyes, because I don't think they're going to touch the 6 first-rounders that 04 Miami and 21 Bama had. But Ohio State, I think, is in a good spot to have 14, 15 players drafted overall. Georgia's got the most. They had 15 back in 2022. The 04 Ohio State squad had 14 players, or the 03 Ohio State squad, I should say, in 2004 had 14. Bama had the 20 Bama had those 14. So we go out now to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. We not yet. That's a bad job out of me.
False alarm.
Well, again, we're excited.
But listen, this Ohio State team, I think we all think, right, that 15 number is, I think most Buckeye fans, especially during the season, thought that 15 number was guaranteed. Maybe you could get a 16th in there and actually top Georgia and hold the record to yourself. I remember that used to be a big deal with Miami and USC and Ohio State, the number 1 picks, the most player picks, all that.
Yeah.
It's just a point of pride, I guess, for us Buckeye fans. But even better that, that talent equated to a national championship team, and now we get to see those guys go reap the rewards.
Yeah, and I think the 14 Buckeyes were invited to the NFL Scouting Combine, so that was the most of any school this year, but yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of, 3rd, 4th rounders that you're going to hear their names called for Ohio State. Probably some 2nd rounders, 2 or 3, at least in the first round. But a very successful draft, I expect, for the Scarlet and Gray. Something they can hang their hat on and continue as you keep bringing in talent to develop.
You have to think Josh Simmons is the name that you hear first off the board in the first round of that draft. Everywhere in the draft, he's in there, whether I've seen him as high as number 11 to San Francisco, and I've seen him as low as like 28 or 29. Normally, he's somewhere in that 17, 18 to 25 range in mock drafts that you look at. A lot of them, Emeka Buka is next, but you could also have JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer.
Donovan
Jackson is in there, and some. Travion Henderson, a lot of people think is a high second-round talent, somewhere in the second round. Quinshawn Judkins there as well. Tyleik Williams is probably a guy that doesn't get past the second round. So you've got a lot of Buckeyes there vying to be, if not in that first day, definitely the second day. Will Howard's probably a guy you're going to hear maybe at the end of the second day. So a lot of cool things and a lot of Buckeyes that can improve their stock possibly today.
I look at Tankathon when I'm trying to figure out who's got what, where in terms of teams and their draft picks. They also do a mock draft, and they've got 7 Buckeyes mocked in the second round.
7 in the second round alone.
Every other name is a Buckeye, it feels like, as I'm reading this, which is really cool and a great nod to the development of these players. And the positions that you find some of these guys in, like Igbuka, they've got him mocked to the Giants at 34, which if you've got a quarterback like Jameis slinging it, I wonder, as we will have the conversation about how the quarterback room's going to look with Jameis and Tommy DeVito and Russell Wilson in New York, if you're any pass catcher with the Giants, are you rather a gunslinger like Jameis, or are you someone that probably dink and dunk more than a Russell Wilson? Of course, depends on what kind of offensive style they're going to use. But if I'm Igbuka and I do go to New York, I don't know, maybe just throw me Jameis for the first season.
I think whatever you want, what's going to be best for your team to win, right? That's the
Are they going to be winning a whole lot?
Probably not, but we know, like Emeka, coming from Ohio State, the kind of player he is, he wants to win games more than anything.
Like if you're Malik Neighbors, are you sitting there going, I don't think the top 5 in the draft, I don't have a lot of faith is going to look too different next year. Like Cleveland, New York, maybe New England finds their way out of the top 5 in terms of drafting next year. But I think if you're a Browns fan, especially, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in 2026. But the eyes will be on Columbus from the National Football League. Pro Day going on in about half an hour from the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. We bring on ESPN senior college football reporter Jake Trotter, who joins us live. Jake, thank you so much for the time this morning. Who of these 17 Buckeyes will you have your eyes on more today?
Oh boy, I'm interested to see what Will Howard looks like throwing the ball. A lot of these pro days, it's an opportunity for the quarterback to impress. I was at, Oklahoma's pro day back in 2009 when Sam Bradford, I think, completed 67 of 67 passes, and then that propelled him to becoming the number 1 overall pick in the draft. So I think Will Howard has an opportunity to improve his draft stock. I don't know that he threw the ball as well as he wanted to in Indy. It's understandable that they're coming off such a long season, such a grind. The Ohio State players didn't have as much of an opportunity to prepare for the combine as other players did. So I think that is going to stick out. And just whoever runs the 40, what do those look like, across the board? Because there's so many players today that have a chance to be, late day 1, day 2 picks. I mean, like almost all of them who are working out today. And can anybody, improve their draft stock with a better 40 time than what they ran in Indy, or a really good 40 time for those that did not run in Indy?
Jake, before I ask you anything about Pro Day, whenever you're in Columbus, is there a spot or a place that you have to hit up, you have to go visit?
I don't have a go-to spot in Columbus. I covered the NCAA tournament that 3 years ago when Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue. I think it was. Mm-hmm. So I was staying by Nationwide, and I was hitting up the short north every night. I've got a couple spots there. I'm not going to be there tonight or today, obviously. So, I usually, hit something on the east side, kind of around the Polaris area, because that's where I drive through to get back to Cleveland. But if you guys got a good suggestion for me today between campus and I-71, I'd definitely be interested in hearing what you got.
Okay, we'll have to get a list for you. You talked a little bit about Will Howard. Is he the guy that you think has the most to gain today, or is there another Buckeye that you think can really improve their draft stock with a good performance?
Yeah, I think the running backs are really interesting. I know a lot of teams like them just based on the tape alone. And so, like, if they show out today, I don't think Travion's going to be a first-round pick. I think it's very likely that he's going to be the third running back off the board. So his positioning, I think, is still a little bit fluid. I know a lot of teams really like Quinshon Judkins as a, future number one running back. Those two guys, I think are going to be maybe go higher than we think, just because the running back position is making a little bit of a comeback, with guys like Jahmyr Gibbs getting drafted pretty highly and then doing well, and then Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. I mean, those guys showed that if you have an elite running back, you can really make some hay. So I think those two guys, I think they're perceived to be number one running backs in the NFL. And so when do those teams make the move to get them? Because I don't think they're going to last very long if they make it to day two.
Jake Trotter, our guest. He's the senior college football reporter at ESPN, live at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center for Ohio State's Pro Day. Are you in the building right now?
I'm still en route.
Okay.
I'm still driving there. I think it cranks up, like 12:30, give or take?
Yeah, I think they gave a 2-hour window around about there. Do you expect a lot of brass from all 32 teams? Like, does this feel kind of like what the Titans did at Cam Ward's Pro Day, or are some teams going to send just maybe one or two?
No, I think there'll be a lot of people here. I was actually asking, some people at the Browns who they were sending. I don't know that they're going to have a super large contingent, but they'll have some people there. It's different because you don't have the elite quarterback prospect throwing. That usually draws a massive crowd, and that usually draws big names. Like, that's when you get, GMs, head coaches, offensive coordinators. But I still think I haven't checked to see what the guest list is going to be. You guys probably know more about that than I do, but I think it's going to be a pretty massive contingent, because I think just about every team in the NFL is going to have a guy or two working out today that they may really want to take. I mean, that's just how deep this Ohio State class is, and how many guys I think have a chance to be kind of in that, 20th overall pick to the end of the third round. I mean, like, Ohio State's going to have a ton of guys get drafted in that range, and all of them are working out today.
On the defensive side of the ball, the D-line especially, Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau, you've had, depending on the mock drafts, you see some like JTT a little higher than Jack, others like Jack. Which one of those two do you like the most, and who do you think is better suited for a day like today?
Yeah, probably JT, to the latter question. If I had to predict, I think Sawyer might go before JT, but I think they're going to go pretty close to one another. I think their draft stock is about in the same range. I was talking to somebody at the Combine, somebody in the league, and I think with Sawyer in particular, and I think this applies to Will Howard as well. A lot of these teams, these front offices, they have their draft boards, all but locked in, mid-December. But now with the expanded playoff, you kind of reserve the right to reopen, your draft board and move guys around. And I think two guys that I'm not sure how they could have helped themselves more in Jack Sawyer and Will Howard. I mean, Will Howard was, played the best football of his life in the playoff, and Jack Sawyer, delivered one of the iconic plays that you'll ever see in college football throughout the playoff as well. So I think those two guys, I'm going to be interested to see, do they go higher than what we would have thought? And this is not going to be a question we can answer until after the draft based on where they go and what teams say about their evaluations. But I'm curious to see, does Jack Sawyer, does Will Howard, do they go higher than they would have had the draft been basically locked up in mid-December? Like, did those guys really improve their draft stock based on the way they played the playoff alone? we see this in the NCAA tournament in basketball where a guy will go from, he's maybe a late first rounder, all of a sudden he's in the lottery pick. I can't remember the guy from Connecticut, point guard, led UConn to the Final Four, and LeBron James was tweeting about wanting him and in Miami. And then, is it Napier? Was it Napier? Is that the name?
Shabazz Napier?
Shabazz Napier, that's who it was. So he went from I don't even know if he was a first-round pick, to he was the 7th pick in the draft because of the way he played in the NCAA tournament. And I wonder if we're going to see guys in this college football playoff, especially as it, potentially expands, if you have a run, do you go from being a third-rounder to a second-rounder? And I think Jack Sawyer and Will Howard are going to be interesting test cases for that because they were just so magnificent in the playoff.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see just kind of the opportunity that these players have and then what comes of that college football playoff and then pro day today. Jake, are you coming back in town for Ohio State's spring game on the 12th?
I don't know if I'm going to the spring game yet, but I think I'm going to be at least a couple of those practices that week. So, I haven't had a chance to get up to Ohio State yet. I was covering the NCAA tournament last weekend here in Cleveland. Chalk City, by the way, no upsets, just like everywhere else in college basketball. But, I'm going to definitely be up there a couple of times, maybe 3 times if I go to the spring game in April.
I'll say the next time you come back, Buckeye Donuts on High Street, sneaky good gyros, if you're into that sort of thing, and then pizza on Lane Avenue. There's a place called Tommy's. So it's all pretty close to campus.
I'm into gyros, so if they're good, I'm in.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much for giving us some time today. Enjoy the pro day. Enjoy the spring. We'll catch up with you next week, all right?
All right, see you, fellas. Take care.
Jake joins us courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We'll do a little thing or not a thing next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Are you concerned with AMD? Now, protecting your eyes is easier thanks to New Nordic's Blueberry Eye Supplements. Available now at Amazon.com or NewNordicUSA.com.
Here's 3 reasons to buy your Blue Jackets ticket plans for the 25-26 season. 1, pick your seat and pick your games. 2, plans start at just 11 games. 3, priority access to Stanley Cup playoff tickets. Act now. Visit BlueJackets.com/tickets.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.50%, APR 6.56% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-THIRD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $2,000 off BX 2380 tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by CEC Turf and Tractor in Athens, Canal, Winchester, Lancaster, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota tractors and mowers, or check them out online at CECTurfandTractor.com.
We're catching up with that famous deep-sea explorer, Jacques Black Jacques. Jacques, where are you today? You're in Columbus. What could you possibly be exploring in Columbus?
The April showers bring flooding to Batmans.
Oh, I see. Spring rains mean basements are flooding.
This not necessary. Apex Pros.
Not necessary. Call Apex Pros.
A simple zoom pump check.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding this. Zoom pump check. Sump pump check. Are you saying sump pump check? Yes, of course. Sump pump check from the pros who knows at Apex Pros.
They come to your house.
They come to your house.
They test your zoom pump.
They test your, what is it again?
Zoom pump.
Some pump, right.
All with a 5-star guarantee.
All with a 5-star guarantee. Now, see, I understood that perfectly.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
After an audit of our programming, the suits here at The Fan decided we needed more baseball. And that common man is stupid. Good news. We fixed one of those problems. Catch the Reds on The Fan all season long. Yay, baseball.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more of the good life to your life so you can bring home more perfectly plump and flavorful produce picked for precise freshness, beautifully marbled beyond brag-worthy certified Angus beef, and more must-have money-saving M-Perks rewards. Because saving more on local favorites is good, but bringing home more of what you love in every trip, that's the good life. We do more to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
Common Man here for Weed Man. I always have the greenest lawn in the neighborhood. It's luscious. I swear by two things, water and Weed Man. Weed Man is locally owned and operated by Corbin and Audrey. They will make sure your lawn is weed-free and looking gorgeous. Of course, they get rid of weeds, but they also do aeration, mosquito control, grub control, crabgrass prevention, and flea and tick control for your four-legged friends. For a free quote, give them a call, 614-733-3747, weedmanusa.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Patriot Air Comfort Systems and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
After putting up with Dom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Our thanks to Jake Trotter for giving us some time in that last segment as he makes his way to the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Ohio State's going to get Pro Day going here. The email said at 11 o'clock. So from 11 to 3 was that window for Ohio State's SID. So hopefully they take maybe as long, because nothing's worse than when you're driving. You're like, oh, I got the time wrong. And you're kind of clenching, you're clenched all the way down 71. So maybe if there was the case as it was Monday where you say 11 o'clock, but you don't actually hit the podium or you don't actually hit the whistle or the siren until about noon. At least for Jake's sake.
Maybe. Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Oklahoma State head coach Mike Gundy said Tuesday that he would prefer having 2 practices against rival Oklahoma in April instead of holding an intra-squad spring game. The Cowboys and Sooners discontinued their Bedlam series last year after OU left the Big 12 for the SEC. Until then, the 2 in-state rivals have faced up until last season. The 2 in-state rivals had faced one another for 112 straight years. Gundy suggested the Cowboys could go to Norman on April 12th, the same day that Oklahoma has scheduled its Crimson Combine that'll replace the Sooners' traditional spring game. The following weekend, Oklahoma could make the trip to Stillwater in place of the Cowboys' spring game. Gundy added he would also be open to just one annual spring game meeting with the Sooners, with the 2 programs splitting ticket revenue and putting the proceeds toward NIL. Quote, it's not going to be a live game, but nobody really has live scrimmages anymore, so you make it a full thud like we're doing at practice against them, just like they do in the NFL, end quote. Thing or not a thing?
I think this is a thing because I think it's ridiculous that these two don't play each other anymore. Agreed. Like, you could switch conferences and still have a game against each other. The fact that Bedlam is no longer is just sad, and one of the great traditions that unfortunately we've lost in this new age of college football and college athletics. But this would be a cool thing, maybe a way to give the fans the rivalry back a little bit. It seems like everybody is trying to find a way, right, to get around playing a spring game. They're just trying to get rid of it somehow. But again, whatever you can do, I think in these situations to raise money for NIL and your school is a good thing for your team.
Yeah, what's funny is when I initially read this, I'm like, man, I'm against this because I don't think it's a good idea to play against one of your every single year opponents in a preseason game or a spring game or something like that. And then I was reminded that they are no longer in the same conference. So From that standpoint, I have to rewire my thinking, and I think this would be a really cool thing if they were able to do this. I think this is absolutely something that people would sign up for, and I almost wonder if they can add a 13th game to the schedule. I believe it's a minimum of 12 games, so I don't know what that would look like necessarily, but I think a lot of people would show up for this locally. Because they got two schools. I mean, what, Tulsa? They're not a Power 5 school or a Power 4 school. So in that state, this is all you got. So if those two are ever going to show up on a football field together, I think a lot of people would turn out.
I think more so than anything, this is showing that there's a groundswell of support for these inter-squad scrimmages, of where you had Dion say it first, and then Fran Brown of Syracuse saying, we'll be happy to come to Boulder. You have something like this with Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, absolutely something that could trickle, right? Because football's copycat. When someone says it or someone thinks it or someone does it, then someone else does the same thing, and then it just spreads. I hope that's going to be the case, because I would hope, that Ohio State could do something like this for fans of both those fan bases, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, just the chance to get together and do something that they had been doing for 112 years prior, because there's, in my opinion, no way that Oklahoma and Oklahoma State will ever play in the regular season again, because the SEC is going to move to 9 games, which is going to jettison a non-conference for Oklahoma. Likely the Sooners aren't going to pick Oklahoma State, because I don't necessarily think they would see a good enough reason to. Maybe the money can do the talking, but it factors that when the SEC goes 9 conference games, then the entire conference just picks up, cupcakes like at probable Tulsa. 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stephon Diggs and the Patriots reached an agreement Tuesday on a 3-year deal worth $69 million. It includes $26 million guaranteed. The 31-year-old Diggs suffered a season-ending ACL injury in Week 8 with the Texans, but he's on track for a Week 1 return this upcoming season. Diggs will join a receiving core with Mac Hollins, Kendrick Bourne, third-year players Kayshawn, is it Booty?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Demario Douglas, that'll be who he gets to work with in New England. Thing or not a thing?
Well, if he's healthy, it's a big thing. That's a tough injury for a guy that's 31 at the receiver position to come back from, but he was having a really good year with CJ last year until he went down. The Patriots needed a number 1 guy, and they were go after Chris Godwin, but he re-signed with Tampa Bay, so this is their consolation prize. It's a lot of money to give him if he's not healthy, but if he's healthy and productive, this is a big move for them, at least for 1 year, because we know he's usually happy for 1 year, and then he gets unhappy and wants to force his way out of wherever he is. So if he's completely happy and healthy for this year, that's a good move for Drake May and the Patriots.
Well, the good news is that the only guaranteed money is going to be for 1 year.
Yeah.
So they can play him basically on 3 one-year contracts. And the second that, like you said, he repeats his habit of throwing tantrums and feuding with his teammates, then they can cut bait with him. So I think it's a worthy experiment, because from a Patriots perspective, like you said, you were like stumbling through these receivers' names. I haven't had many receivers whose names that we've known. So over the past couple of years, it's like, yeah, who is this guy? Who is that? Kendrick Bourne? Is Kendrick Bourne like one of the best receivers in the NFL? No. So especially with a young guy like Drake May, you're at least giving him a shot. And look, it's an experiment, but I think it's one worth making.
I still got a couple minutes to get your Hey Guys questions in, either on Twitter at 971BFS or live in the YouTube chat. We'll read them here in a couple minutes, and the best one is going to get that $50 gift card and a distillery tasting and tour for up to 10 people from our friends at High Bank Distillery. That's coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Common Man here. I take my job as endorser for Germain Lexus very seriously. I want to make sure that every Lexus on the lot meets my expectations. That's why I personally sit in each one. I massage the leather. Sometimes I take a nap in the back seat. If that's not a selling point, I don't know what is. Deal time. Lease the 2025 ES350 for as low as $409 per month, or get 3.49% financing up to 60 months on their most popular new Lexus models. 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton. Check them out online, GermainLexus.com.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-324-VEIN. That's 614-324-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. At Giant Eagle, we combine exceptional customer service and quality foods, all at great value to make the most of your shopping trip. Visit Giant Eagle or Market District today to see how easy it is to save.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring is here, and it's time to refresh your yard with Ohio Mulch. With 15 convenient locations in Central Ohio, it's easier than ever to get mulch ready for the season. Now through April 5th, get 5 bags of red, black, or brown mulch for just $10.95. Need it delivered? No problem. Save $50 on home delivery when you order online. Visit OhioMulch.com today and spruce up your yard with the best.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply, greener, greener, better.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
When you buy from Pella, you could meet Brad, Bob, maybe Mike, or 54 others that make our local Pella team so awesome.
And if you buy from me, you'll get to meet me.
Just a one-man operation, Wilson?
I've got a bunch of cousins helping me, but based on their work, I'm not sure they've got thumbs.
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
Hey, it's Anthony, and I've got a fitting personalized for you. From the moment you walk in the Good Feet store, they're going to take the time to understand your unique lifestyle, your daily routines, and most importantly, the pain that brought you in to see them in the first place. If your feet ache after a long day or that discomfort starts radiating through your knees, your hips, your back, I've been there. The Good Feet store is going to help you where you need relief and find the arch supports that work best for you. And they're working for me. I walked all over the place in New Orleans covering the big game. I was loving it. I literally was walking for miles around the French Quarter, Canal Street, everywhere because I had my personally fit arch supports in my shoes. For more than 30 years, the Good Feet store has helped thousands of people get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. I want you to be one of them. Go in, take the free test walk. They're immediately available. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
Raising Cane's is celebrating our golden birthday year. Join the party with golden chicken fingers and a limited edition golden blush puppy that benefits local pet organizations. Get yours while supplies last. See RaisingCanes.com for details. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports. Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. 17 Buckeyes are putting their talents on display for NFL scouts and evaluators today at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center for Ohio State's annual Pro Day. All 32 teams are expected to be in attendance. Current Buckeyes Carnell Tate and Brandon Innes will also participate, catching passes from Will Howard. The NFL Draft is 29 days away from today in Green Bay, Wisconsin. In NFL news, former Seahawks and Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson signed a one-year deal with the New York Giants. The quarterback room in NY is now Russ, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito. Giants have the third pick in next month's draft. In the NBA last night, the Cavaliers won in Portland, beating the Trailblazers 122-111. The magic number is now 6 for Cleveland to clinch that top seed in the Eastern Conference. And in the NHL, the Blue Jackets are 2 points out of a wild card spot. CBJ are going to host the Vancouver Canucks Friday night at 7. You can hear Blue Jackets hockey and breaking sports news when it happens, all on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
Before we get to Hey Guys on this first Friday edition of the program, so there's still time to get your questions into the YouTube chat or at 971-BFS before we read it and decide which one of our favorites gets that $50 gift card to our friends at High Bank Distillery. Baker, I do have to apologize. You said earlier this week that the Reds are on the fan. And I said, well, no, in fact, the Reds opening day tomorrow, 4:10 against the Giants. That's going to be over on ESPN Columbus. Well, programming note, the Reds will be on the fan tomorrow, opening day on 97.1, going to JIP at 4:10. That's join in progress for those uninformed. As soon as first pitch, Hunter Green. Who are the Giants rolling out there? Do you know?
I do not know.
When Hunter Green toes the rubber for the first time in the 2025 season, you will hear it on these very airwaves.
And, Reese, you were wrong anyway because it was going to be on HT3, and it is still going to be on the Fans HT3. Well, not according to the email that we just got sent out saying that it was going to be on the Fan now. So, again, 4:10 when the game starts. You're not going to get any of the pregame here on the Fan, but when the game starts, we will join the broadcast in progress, and then as soon as the game is over, we will head to the Buckeyes
But
show.
As your Central Ohio home of the Reds, most of the weekday games, if they start at 4:10, likely look for those over on ESPN Columbus.
Nothing is off limits. Your participation is required. Just use the hashtag #HeyGuys and ask anything you want. Do it now.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
And like I said, our favorite question gets that $50 High Bank gift card and a distillery tour and tasting for up to 10 people. High Bank Distillery is the home of the best blended whiskey in America, 3 years running, located right here in Columbus. Stop by High Bank's 3 locations in Grandview, Gahanna, and Westerville to enjoy their award-winning spirits for your next happy hour. You can make that reservation at highbankco.com. Drink local, drink High Bank. We will start with the YouTube chat. Dogfather asks, hey guys, since Ohio State is the second best basketball in the state, how long does Jake Diebler have with a Pitino now in the Buckeye State? 1 year or 2 years?
So I don't think Pitino being in the state is going to have anything to do with it. I think Ohio State is going to be pretty patient with Jake Diebler unless it goes off the rails here. And I don't think that's going to happen with Diebler. Now, maybe if you get 2 more years of what we had this year, then there might be a conversation. But I don't think there's any way Jake is gone after 1 more year unless it's really, really, really bad next year.
Yeah, and I think even 2 years, 3 years, whatever Richard Pitino, the littlest Pitino, does at Xavier, it's not really going to affect what happens in Columbus. Now, for Ohio State, I want them to affect Xavier in taking Dallin Swain from that roster. But he's in the portal. You're a couple days out. You've got till April 22nd. Richard Pitino, that's probably one of his first phone calls, though, trying to keep the roster that he has, and maybe there's a player or 2 from New Mexico that he wants to bring. I'm going to go over to Twitter real quick. I got this about a minute ago from just Donnie D. You're a menace with this. I'm flying this weekend. I hate flying, so I want everyone around me to be miserable. What is the most awkward / worst movie I can watch to make those around me uncomfortable?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing, right, would probably get you kicked off the plane.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do that. I'm more talking about like a Hollywood production.
I don't know if I can think of one in general, but I think whatever it would be something with a lot of blood and gore, right?
I was thinking Game of Thrones. If you just popped up HBO, and maybe you could find some other Eastbound and Down might make people uncomfortable if they're at one point looking over and there's Kenny Powers. And then they look back over, and there's a naked female. Like, that could be an uncomfortable, like, whoa, what's that guy doing? Without the context, I think. If you want something that will, A, entertain, and B, make people uncomfortable. Because, if you're just watching stuff to make people uncomfortable, it's not going to make for a fun plane ride.
Yeah, probably going to be awkward.
Josh asks on Twitter, hey, guys, since it's pro day season, if you guys were to have a pro day, which events would be your best/worst?
So all of them would be my worst right now. But a few years ago, there might be some things I would be okay at. I was always pretty strong, but I was never great on the bench press, so I don't think the bench press would be great for me. I would have to say something with one of the quickness, like one of the agility drills or like the shuttle time. What is it, like the 3-cone shuttle or something like that? Because I've always had short, choppy steps anyway, so something with quickness I think I would have been the best at.
Yeah, I think if you would properly warm me up, I might be able to get 12 or 13 reps at 225. So that's the only thing I would do relatively well.
Are you serious?
Everything else, yes. Everything else would be very uncoordinated and very unathletic.
12 to 13 reps of 225.
I'd have to be properly prepared.
I benched 225 for the first time in my life on St. Patrick's Day.
Congratulations. That's a big milestone.
It is, but now it looks like nothing compared to what you could throw.
It's not
You're
nothing.
ready for the pro day.
Your arms are much longer, so you got much further distance to go. I've got the T-Rex arms that make reps pretty quick.
That is 100% true. That is why Blake Corum and Joe Alt benched the same amount of reps at the combine.
Yeah. Like those stocky running backs, the distance they have to travel isn't too much. Zachary asks on Twitter, #hey guys, if you can have anyone on this show as a guest, as a co-host, who would it be and why?
Gosh, that's such a great question and can go any amount of ways.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think of Jack Nicklaus or Tiger Woods. I think of some of my favorite players of all time. You know, Hank Aaron would be great if he was still around. Man, there's so many ways to go with this. I'm going to say right now, I would have Ellie De La Cruz on because he's one of the best up-and-coming players in the league, and I think he would be so fun. There's no way that interview couldn't be fun and entertaining.
I mean, we're going timely, I think Rick Pitino, having him on for a couple segments would be pretty fascinating.
I'm going to go Nate Bargatze.
Oh,
that's a pretty good one.
He's a sports fan, too. He's probably going to interject a lot of Vanderbilt talk, which I'll have to work around, but we can make it work.
All right, we got to pick a winner.
Well, it's pro day today, so let's go with Josh, who had the pro day question, and it got out of you that you benched 225 12 or 13 times.
Look, it's just one event. That doesn't mean any of the other ones would go very well. You want to see me try to do the high jump? Mm-hmm. Although I guess it's the vertical jump, because the high jump you got, I think, have a running start for. But my vert is terrible. Like wherever the lowest rung they have I don't know what they call them, but the sticks that you hit, I might not touch that.
Baker,
possibly.
You wouldn't do well in that running back drill where it's like they got like the grid laid out and you got to like high knee your way through it.
I might be, like I said, short choppy steps, so I think I could do that okay.
That one with like the rope, that would trip you up so bad. Me as well, just to be clear.
I was on a football team in high school, and the punishment was always up downs whenever something bad happened, and the coach, you would just hear, "Get him chopping." So every time I hear chopping, I just PTSD from that. So, Josh, you get the $50 gift card to our wonderful friends at High Bank Distillery. It also includes the tour and the tasting for up to 10 people. Can an NFL team handle both Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson? We'll discuss next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
The The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
March is on at Lindsay Honda.
Shoot your shot and save.
It's madness. You get to choose your finance rate on over 600 new Lindsay Hondas. 0%, 1.9, 2.9, and up to a full 60 months long. And no trade-in required. This deal works with zero down. March is on at Lindsay Honda. Save with rates as low as 0% at lindsayhonda.com.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
See lindsayhonda.com for details.
Spring forward, Columbus, with the Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling Services. We're here to thaw you out with this limited time offer. Get up to $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer is too good to pass up. The Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling now together to serve you better with $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer won't last. Call us today, 614-232-2222. That's 614-232-2222.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, three-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, two-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to lifesearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit lifesearch.com today.
It's March, and you know what that means. Bracket season. You've crunched the numbers, picked your favorites, and maybe even taken a big gamble on that Cinderella team. But when it comes to your home, gambling is not an option. Spring storms are rolling in, bringing strong winds, heavy rain, and unpredictable weather. The question is your roof ready? At Newman Roofing, we don't leave anything up to chance. Whether you need a new roof, gutter replacement, or updated siding, our expert team is here to educate you, guide you, and give you the best options to fit your home's needs. No high-pressure sales, no surprises, just top-quality work from a team you can trust. That's why homeowners choose Newman Roofing, the #1 overall seed here in Columbus, because we deliver an unbeatable customer experience every single time. So, don't wait until the damage is done. Beat the storm before it ruins your big dance. Call 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF, or visit online at newmanroofing.com to schedule your spot this spring. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
The tournament is underway. Is your bracket a big pile of trash like mine? Big voice guy took it on the chin this year. Anyway, check your standings in the Fan and 10 TV Bracket Challenge.
Sponsored by Mountain Dew, Ohio Bottled Buckeye Bowl.
The most accurate bracket, not mine, will take home $1,000. Check your progress at 971thefan.com. Wasting time has never been more fun. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Do you want a job that is flexible, secure, and fun? It also offers excellent pay and is ranked as one of the best jobs in America, too. I'm talking about being a dental hygienist. And all you have to do is complete a 2-year program after high school. Visit ODA.org to learn more and to start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Some foot issues just can't be fixed by those expensive shoe stores or shoe inserts. A foot exam from a doctor of podiatric medicine, who is the medical expert in foot and ankle care, may give solutions after doing a complete foot examination. If you suffer from foot, heel, or ankle pain, let us help you find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association so you know you are being treated by the very best. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
from the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Hey there, Central Ohio. I'm 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Michael Behrens at your latest forecast. We're looking at temperatures this afternoon that'll hang around 50 degrees. Sunshine will turn to a bit more cloudy conditions by this evening as a few sprinkles become possible. Low tonight in the low 30s. We'll be up in the upper 50s Thursday, starting the day of sunshine, but scattered showers possible by the afternoon and evening. Temperatures near 70 Friday with more scattered showers and storms. More storms possible this weekend. That's your latest 10 Weather Impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Are Men and Bone stupid in real life? Yes. Yes, they are. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yeah, top men out today. It's Reeser, Baker, and Cole. We're back tomorrow, Thursday, and then Friday. Top men will be back on Monday. Again, congratulations to Josh in the last segment because it's the first Friday. He wins a $50 gift card for submitting that Hey Guys question to us on Twitter. We can also get your YouTube questions. And the coolest thing about YouTube is because it's so live, we can answer things in real time. Phil, you threw out Law Abiding Citizen as a movie that would make those around me on a plane uncomfortable. Law Abiding Citizen is such a good film that I think people would just be looking over your shoulder. I don't know if you've seen that, Baker, with Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx. That's a really good film.
Put it on the list. I have a lot that I got to add to the list.
That is the thing. Are you doing anything currently? Like, do you have like weekly episodic stuff that you watch, or are you strictly, I'm leaving my calendar open if I got to watch the Blue Jackets, or if, say, last night, were you watching any of the hockey games that mattered locally?
I checked in on them a little. Mondays is usually, if I'm at home, Mondays is usually a Monday Night Raw, unless there's something big sports-wise going on. But I did pay attention to those. It was a great night for the Jackets. Everybody you needed to lose lost, and they did so in regulation. So none of those 3-point games out there to hurt you in the standings. So it was a very good night for the Jackets. I just finished up, obviously, the second half of the Yellowstone season.
That's right.
So that's
the second half of the final season of Yellowstone.
So I got introduced, I think we talked about this a while ago. I got introduced to the gemstones. So I may need to catch up on that, and I don't know if I'll catch up and get to live or not, but that may be the one that I need to watch now to catch up to get to since they are back.
Yeah, Gemstones would recommend. The fun thing about it being on a Sunday is I can't really stay up to when Gemstones and White Lotus come on, because 9 o'clock's usually when I'm starting to pass out. So we save those for Mondays and Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. So we usually do White Lotus on Mondays and Gemstones on Tuesdays. So I was able to catch up for that yesterday, and yes, can absolutely, anybody out there, recommend Gemstones 100%. That actually, to the question asked, hey guys, in terms of making those around me on a plane uncomfortable, if you had the Gemstones, or really of anything that includes the actor's name, whoever played Kenny Powers, the actor's name is blanking, whoever, any of those like shows like Eastbound and Down, Vice Principals, the aforementioned Gemstone series, any of those shows might have some moments people go, what the hell is that guy watching?
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride, thank you. Love it when a Google machine comes together.
I did, by the way, Reese, because of our Friday Night Lights conversations that happened back in the playoffs. I did get the book finally. So, and you said watch the movie, read the book, then watch the TV show. I think is what you said. So I'm about to embark on that as well.
Did I say that in that order?
I think you did, but I can't remember.
I feel like you could do, it's either the movie or the book first, and then the series. So I think you could do the movie, then the book.
Well, the book is at home finally, so we can get into that.
So whatever you've got right in front of you, then I would say start that. As you mentioned, as was mentioned, good night for the Blue Jackets. The Canadiens lost to the Blues 6-1. The Rangers lost to the Kings 3-1. Buffalo beat Ottawa. I don't think the Jackets are going to be catching the Senators for that first wild card spot. But the fear that you have now with 11 games remaining in the season is that nobody ahead of you for those wild card spots makes any more jumps while you sit there and you are idle. For the Jackets, it was huge to pick up those 2 points, but the Islanders did pick up a point. But you're only 2 out of that second spot with Vancouver coming in town on Friday. The Islanders are hosting the Canucks tonight, so you're also rooting for Vancouver to win tonight and then be too tired to deal with you Friday.
And this was from Mark Scheig of the Hockey Writers last night. Montreal, who's in that last wild card spot, currently on pace for 89 points. So there's a chance the last playoff spot in the East could be under 90 points. The CBJ, to have a shot at this, would need 8 wins in their last 12 games. That would put them at 89 points. Also, this from Jeff Svoboda last night. Records in the last 10 games for those teams. Actually, he tweeted this out about an hour ago. For teams battling the CBJ for a wild card spot, Montreal 4-2-4. The New York Islanders 5-2-3, the New York Rangers 3-6-1, Detroit 3-7-0, and Boston 2-7-1. So as bad as it has been for the Jackets recently, none of these teams are playing great right now. So if the Jackets get on a heater, which they've done a couple times this year, they reel off 4, maybe 5, 6 wins in a row, you're right back in this thing and could possibly take control of it.
Do it a game at a time. You've got 12 remaining, including 2 against the Washington Capitals. I don't know if you saw Alexander Ovechkin scored his 889th career goal last night in the third period. He's only 6 away. 5 to tie, 6 to break. That 894 set by Wayne Gretzky. And the Capitals will be in town on April 12th. That I think is 8 games away from where the Capitals sit right now. Are we looking at that Saturday going, all right, spring showcase, but also Ovi's over the shoulder?
So I think they had, I think I saw this last night, the record is projected now to be broken on the 15th. Whatever game that is for the Capitals. Yeah, the Islanders.
Bummer.
That's when they're saying right now. But we know Ovi can have multi-goal games. He scored 4 in a game before. So those 2 games with the Jackets, the 12th and the 13th, I would definitely have those circled. And heck, we already know ABC circled the one here in town because they moved that start time from a night game to a 12:30 game, and it's going to be on national ABC.
Yeah, busy day on the 12th, so you'll have that spring showcase. Now we can call it a spring game. Ryan Day said as much, that he wants this to be as much of a game experience as possible for a lot of these guys, including the 2-3 quarterbacks who are vying for QB1, to get reps in a stadium like Ohio Stadium in front of actual fans. Because the next up is Texas. Like, this isn't a wading into the waters with Grambling in Ohio. This is the first number 1 team in the country that'll be in town for, unfortunately, a noon kick because Fox has it. But back to the Jackets and the Washington Capitals real quick. They lost to Winnipeg 3-2 in overtime. So Ovi can get that goal in Columbus, but the Blue Jackets can win and pick up those 2 points. Great day for all.
And the Juice Bringers had Matthew Olivier on this morning at the end of their show, and they asked him about that and how cool would that be if Ovechkin got the goal against you? And he said, I don't care if he gets it or not as long as we win.
Right.
He said, if we don't win, I don't want him to have it.
Now, you haven't spoken with Matthew Olivier yet, but you've got something that's coming out on our YouTube channel in the coming days. Slapshots is the first guest on that, a special one?
Yeah, it's the Blue Jackets goaltender Elvis Merzlikins. We did some of these last Sunday before the Jackets practice. It's just something fun and maybe a tryout for something more later on next season with the Blue Jackets. But just some fun things, maybe not so much hockey questions, but just to get to know the Jackets players a little better. And listen, we know Elvis is always one for
always got a comment,
right?
Yep.
He's always got the quote in the press conference. So it was a fun time sitting down with Elvis, and that stuff will be coming out on the fans' social media here, the YouTube, all of that. Tyler, we're gonna put the long form interview, the whole 4 or 5 minutes with each player that we did, but we're also gonna cut up some shorts from it and everything. So make sure you stay tuned to all of the socials, the fan socials.
Yeah, WBNS Radio on YouTube. Subscribe, and you'll get Ryan Baker and Blue Jackets players on Slapshots whenever they do post those. Elvis, always worth a comment, always has a good quote. Jameis Winston was the same when he was with Cleveland, when he was with New Orleans, when he was with Tampa Bay. I don't know if that quarterback room can coexist with Russell Wilson, who now signed a 1-year deal for Big Blue, and Jameis Winston, and Tommy Cutlets, and if they take a quarterback at 3. How does that work?
I mean, that sure is the whole gauntlet of personalities, right? Mr. Unlimited, Jameis, and Tommy Cutlets. And then you got to think, right, if they take another one at 3, it would be Shador, the way things are looking now. And that's another huge personality as well. So that'd be a heck of a that's Hard Knocks, right?
Well,
you want that quarterback room on Hard Knocks.
I would say of the teams that will never do Hard Knocks again, the New York Giants are that team.
Boy, did they
never do Hard Knocks ever again. But yeah, I think for entertainment purposes, you can look at New York and say at least it'll be week to week something different. And if I'm Malik Neighbors or if I'm another pass catcher, I kind of want Jameis. Because when you had Jameis as a quarterback, you saw Jerry Jeudy in only a couple games climb his way into the top 5 of NFL receiving yards.
Listen, this is what we know about Jameis, right? Is he throws for a lot of yards and he throws to the other team a lot.
For Russ, not that, but his deal 1 year up to $21 million, $10.5 million guaranteed. Pro Football Talk had the reporting this morning that the Steelers had no interest in bringing Russ back, which is interesting. Because for me, the NFL, we can fix that in the NFL is rampant, where you have his time ran out in Seattle. They got sick of him. And then Pittsburgh said, well, we can fix that. And they reportedly got sick of him. And what along Denver, I even forgot about that. They paid him a ton of money thinking we can fix that. And then they jettisoned him as soon as they could. What does the New York Giants football organization think that they can fix that 3 organizations like that couldn't?
I think they just think they need a starting quarterback, right?
And
someone that's not going to give games away, though, which Jameis tends to do sometimes. What I wonder when I saw that contract, because Reese, it's what, $10.5 million guaranteed? Yep. What in that contract was too much for the Cleveland Browns? Because they said Russ's ask was too much, and I can't believe he would have been giving the Giants that much more of a discount than he would have the Cleveland Browns. So what part of that was too much for Cleveland?
I'll say a name and then explain coming up in 2 minutes. The name, Flacco! It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Hey, folks, it's Austin Ward here introducing Anne, who didn't want a generic plan or medication to lose weight. She wanted help. She wanted results. Anne chose Awaken 180.
I was drawn to the one-on-one coaching, the confidence that they give me, the answers that they give me, the encouragement they give me. Awaken 180 helps you to understand what healthy foods are and changes your lifestyle and is there for you for life. One medical condition that I had severely for about 7 years is acid reflux. Since I started this program, I have not had one single bout of acid reflux, and I've stopped my medication, and that's huge to me. It really is. Really is.
Anne got the support she needed, the results she wanted, and she did it all with Awaken 180 weight loss. Let Awaken 180 show you how easy losing weight should be. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Sometimes you don't realize something was bothering you
until it's gone.
That's how you're going to feel
after we work our magic at your house.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free Healthy Leg Screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-324-VEIN. That's 614-324-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could dump all your problems on someone else's back? Well, when you wake up to a clogged drain or a plumbing issue, make that Mr. Rooter's problem.
Call 855-MISTERS today or MrRooter.com.
Call Mr. Rooter, he'll be there quick.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie,
And once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yeah, we'll get to the Bengals in a second because it does feel like we're not far away from a Trey Hendrickson extension, which means we are closer to Eric getting a pie to the face, as I had, along with a lot of people, and the Bengals were quick, and I think good job out of them to post on social media a video of everybody saying how they weren't going to be getting those deals done. 4-star players, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Trey Hendrickson. So I don't feel too bad in being wrong because everybody was wrong. And Cincinnati, as I said yesterday, this is must-win now for the Bengals, but they put their money where their mouth is. Or I guess they put their pie where their mouth is, which I guess is the only place you should put your pie.
Listen, and you're not the only one, right? I think everybody on this show thought there was no way they were signing all of them. But, man, they sure are getting it done. No matter what the reason, they're getting it done.
Giants signed Russell Wilson. 1 year, $10 million guaranteed, $10.5 million guaranteed. The option incentives can get it to $21 million, which is a lot of money for quarterback play. But now that takes one veteran off the market that the Browns were in on, that the Steelers reportedly not in on, but thought, okay, there's only so many quarterbacks left in this. Who's it going to be? Because the Steelers in their quarterback room, Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson. The Cleveland Browns, Kenny Pickett, and yes, Deshaun Watson's still on the roster. But he didn't play in football in 2025. 2 Achilles ruptures in the span of, 30 days? Mary Kay Cabot of the Cleveland Plain Dealer and Cleveland.com says the Browns now turn their attention to Carson Wentz or Joe Flacco on the veteran quarterback market, with there being mutual interest between Cleveland and Wentz, which makes me think Flacco doesn't have any interest in going to Cleveland? That's a bummer.
I mean, you would think, right, that Flacco would, though, because it kind of was a renaissance for his career almost. He had that. Maybe he's a little upset that they didn't bring him back. Who knows? The Carson Wentz thing is so fascinating to me. And if I wouldn't have seen him in the final game of the regular season for the Chiefs, and again, I know maybe that's unfair because the Chiefs didn't play anybody.
It was an unserious operation.
And Denver had everything they were playing for everything in that game. Carson Wentz is a guy that played at an MVP level for the Philadelphia Eagles and unfortunately got hurt and didn't have a chance to take them through the postseason when they win the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, and then they decide to stay with Nick Foles there for a couple of years. But Carson Wentz has done it, and he has done it at almost the highest level. I was surprised Carson Wentz is 31, I believe, now. I didn't think that he was quite that old yet, but he was in college for quite some time, too. Is Carson Wentz, can he be a reclamation project in Cleveland? Can you get the last good football out of him here and maybe have something for the next couple of years? That's one of the reasons I was kind of on board with Cleveland signing a guy like Mac Jones, just because look at the operations Mac Jones has been in. He was with New England when New England was as bad as they could be, and then he went to Jacksonville, and we know Jacksonville seems super dysfunctional always. So maybe you could get something out of him. Maybe there was some kind of upside there. Maybe there is with Carson Wentz. I don't know, but gosh, these are your options right now because you've waited. And it sure seems like Cleveland has to draft a quarterback at number 2 right now.
Yeah, the idea that Cleveland is going to be a reclamation project for any quarterback, I just think is laughable. I don't know if that's the right word because I certainly, as a Browns fan, can't look at this and say, well, I already said it earlier in the show, they're picking top 5 again next year. So for me, it doesn't really matter. But to your point about Flacco, I feel that if there's not a mutual interest, because for Cleveland, they'd be idiots. And there are times I feel that brain trust, despite having triple-digit IQ, are idiots if they wouldn't have any interest in Flacco, only because he's been there and he knows that quarterback system. And he's got familiarity with the guys in the building, like one David Njoku, who's reportedly close to coming to an extension with the Cleveland Browns. He's going to be entering the last year of his contract. And I was under the impression after last season that there was an interest in Cleveland bringing Njoku back, or those two sides coming together after his contract expired. But that looks to be the case now, as Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry are in Coral Gables meeting with him because they're also working out Cam Ward.
And listen, this may be another unpopular take, but unless Joe Flacco's your quarterback, I don't think you need to bring in Njoku back because that's the best time of his career was when Joe Flacco was throwing him passes. And Njoku will make the craziest, most contested catch you've ever seen and then drop 3 of the easiest passes ever right after. I mean, he is a maddening player to me, and it just seems to be like what the whole Browns organization is right now is maddening. It's so crazy, though, that they wouldn't have an interest in Flacco. It has to be the other way around.
Especially at as late as we are in this stage, where all of these quarterbacks are coming off the market, where you've got now the 4th team that says, no, Russell Wilson, weird, not great at football. We can fix him. All right, now you've got these 2, and I think there's still someone out there has some hope that you're going to get Kirk Cousins, right? Like they would. I don't know with this.
There comes another reclamation project that we can fix.
I mean, just the idea that look, you've got these 2 quarterbacks and just these 2 not great options, and then trash after that, and then you're going to wait for Kirk Cousins. Just get the guy now. If you're Pittsburgh or if you're Cleveland, get the guy now before the other team does.
Maybe the Browns, you keep talking about McAfee in Pittsburgh.
Well, that just makes sense from a showman standpoint.
Aaron Rodgers and his Steelers contract. Maybe the Browns are going to pull a bigger swerve than Hogan in the NWO.
There's no bigger swerve.
And they'll be the ones that sign. They announced that Rodgers has signed with them on that day in Pittsburgh.
Oh, so you're thinking the Steelers bring in Flacco and see if he would like to play for every team in the AFC North?
Listen, I don't care what the Steelers do, but I'm saying that maybe that's what the Browns will do is they'll swerve everyone, and that day on McAfee, they'll think they're getting the Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh announcement, and it'll be Aaron Rodgers to Cleveland.
Well, for the Cincinnati Bengals, the team, one of 2 teams in the AFC with a known commodity at quarterback, this is the 2nd time in as many days where an NFL reporter is saying that the Bengals are not interested in trading Trey Hendrickson. They are interested in giving him an extension. On the NFL on Fox podcast, here was Jordan Schultz, who I think fought or wanted to fight Ian Rappaport at the NFL the NFL scouting combine. Quote, the organization and ownership are fully prepared to move forward and attempt to negotiate a deal with him. I don't believe they want to trade him at all. I'd actually say after talking to multiple people involved that they have now reached the conclusion that a trade is really off the table. Schultz noted that Danielle Hunter's 1-year, $35.5 million extension with the Texans could provide a blueprint for both sides. Hunter's also going to be 31 this upcoming season. Both Hunter and Hendrickson are coming off double-digit sack seasons. Hunter had 12, 16.5 in 2023. Trey Hendrickson, we obviously know, was the NFL sack leader at 17.5 back in 2024. So they are at this point as serious of an organization as there is in the NFL, despite years of being laughed at, the Cincinnati Bengals.
And listen, they say they want to prove, hey, we do sign our players. It sure doesn't seem like that over the years, but right now, when you've got Joe Burrow, who I don't think anyone will argue is a top 5 quarterback in the league.
I'd love to hear the argument if someone said, no, he's not top 5.
I believe he's top 2 in the league. I'm sure that can be argued, but I believe he's top 2. I believe it's Mahomes and then Joe Burrow. When he says, hey, I want these guys, let's make this happen. This team, the Philadelphia Eagles, who just won the Super Bowl, makes it happen. Yeah. We need to do that too. You go out and do that because that guy you cannot have unhappy. That guy you cannot have walking out the door.
It's an incredible offseason, and I know there are several players, Brandon Ayuk, one of them, with roster bonuses due on April 1st. So I don't know if anything comes this weekend, but maybe the beginning of next week there's more movement, at least hope for Steelers fans, hope for some Browns fans. You hope that's the case, but hope in the NFL is the absolute worst plan to have. We'll do 3 things and get you an officially endorsed next Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
This Ohio State football spring practice report is brought to you locally on The Fan by Roosters and by your Ohio Kubota dealers.
Ohio State football spring practice report.
As Ohio State continues with spring camp, the Buckeyes welcome in new defensive coordinator Matt Patricia, and he talks about joining the Buckeyes after some time in the NFL.
I'm so excited to be here. I mean, just to be honest with you, I know I'm probably going to say it 1,000 times, but it's really the truth. Ohio State, everything that it represents, college football, it's kind of a long story for me. I've been in the NFL for a long time. I started off as a college coach, but for me, the NFL was great. I had a great run. It was a lot of fun. We won some big games, which was really cool. But I just love the college environment. I really got into coaching when I left engineering to, just pursue my passion of really working with young men.
This report was brought to you by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center and by Weber Grills. I'm Matt Andrews on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Imagine a tailgate. The heat of the flame, the sizzle of the burger, the squeeze of the ketchup. Grilling is essential to tailgating as the game itself. Weber Grills are there in the hours, minutes, and even seconds before kickoff. Before the best damn band in the land plays the battle cry, signaling it's time to take the field. Weber is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. This season, Weber created an officially licensed, limited edition Ohio State grill inspired by the iconic Buckeye helmets. Find the best damn grill in the land at local Ohio retailers.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Cover more ground with the fast, durable Kubota Sidekick, featuring a gas-powered engine that delivers a top speed of 40 miles per hour, best-in-class acceleration and handling with cargo, and the strength to haul what needs hauling, all backed by a 2-year, 1,000-hour warranty. Get more done right with the Kubota Sidekick. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Aaron?
Yeah, Jerry?
Something is wrong.
Something's wrong?
Yeah, it's definitely something.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Thumping and bumping and jumping.
What is?
But it's not pumping.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry?
Yeah, Aaron.
Are we talking about your sump pump?
Yeah. Isn't it great?
Isn't what great?
I like the sound of it. Sump pump. Sump pump, sump pump, sump pump.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry, can you keep a secret?
Aaron, I'm as silent as a bank vault in Switzerland.
I kind of like to say it too.
Hey, I should invent a sump pump that lets you know when it's working.
How would it do that?
It would say, sump pump, sump pump, sump pump.
That's a great idea, Jerry, but a sump pump should be exactly like you.
How so?
As silent as a bank vault in Switzerland.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
First handful of videos are rolling in from Ohio State's Pro Day. Donovan Jackson doing his vertical jump. No surprise, he can get up there. The large human being. And I'm looking at the little I forget I don't know what you even call the things, but you whack them when you do the vertical jump, and I don't think I could touch the bottom one.
I think you could. You're selling yourself short.
Maybe if I jumped off a chair, that would be the case, and get a little bit more vertical.
That is a big human though, in Donovan Jackson. getting quite a bit off the
One of the
ground.
guys who made himself a ton of money this past season and will impress a lot. There are, and I'll give you the number of NFL talent evaluators in Columbus coming up in a second. The Daily Fan Poll, though, is sponsored by Caster Connection. What would you rather watch in person? OSU's Spring Showcase or Ohio State's Pro Day? 53% say the Spring Showcase, 47% say the Pro Day. What say you, Baker?
I think I'll go with the Pro Day just because I've done the spring the showcase game, whatever, before, and you can see it so much on TV. There's not as much coverage of the Pro Day, so just because it's a little different, I think I would go Pro Day on this.
I'd go Pro Day, too, for the exact same reason. I will also add, I'm curious to see what the involvement is of the scouts. Like, our coaches getting in there. We've seen the videos of Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel was doing one-on-ones with Christian Wilkins at his Pro Day in Clemson in 2018 or whatever.
Matt Patricia was doing one-on-ones with, I think when it was Joshua Perry was doing his Pro Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So we've seen some guys get super involved. I kind of want to get a feel for just the personality of the coaches whose names we know and faces we know and kind of see who's getting involved and who's off to the side just jotting notes. That'd be curious to me.
I'm going to pick the Spring Showcase. For me, growing up, nothing was better than sitting in that stadium and watching Ohio State football. And now that I'm way past legal drinking age, sitting in that stadium and having a beer, it's a pretty good experience as far as I'm concerned. Just sitting in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center with a bunch of people around you watching these guys do workouts doesn't necessarily do it for me, but to each their own. It is a First Friday, and we will bring you Ryan Baker's officially endorsed.
Bishop and Friends present First Friday, officially endorsed, because everyone deserves 2 Fridays.
You drink for the wrong reasons. My generation, we drink because it's good. Because it feels better than unbuttoning your collar. Because we deserve it. We drink because it's what men do.
So when my good buddy was in town from Kansas City back in February, he brought me a little smoker box that you can smoke cocktails with. So I figured today we will go with a smoked old-fashioned. Now, you can get a box or some kind of kit for smoking cocktails very easily. You just look it up on Amazon and you can get one. So first of all, for the old-fashioned part of that, we're going to get about 2 ounces of your favorite bourbon for this, since it's we're a high bank show. We'll go with the brand new high bank bourbon if you can find it. Get your simple syrup, whether you buy that or you make it yourself, about 1 ounce of that. Then we're going to take 4 dashes of some orange bitters, 2 dashes of walnut bitters. We're going to throw 1 cherry on there and maybe even pour in a little bit of that cherry juice just to give it a little more cherry flavor. You're going to mix that all up. You're going to get part of an orange peel in there. You can even wipe that around the rim of the glass if you want to get some more of that orange flavor. Stir that all up, pour it over a nice ball, and then put the cocktail in your smoker. Get you, I like the cherry-flavored wood chips, but you can get oak, you can get walnut, whatever. And then you're going to smoke that for about a minute, and you will have a delicious smoked old-fashioned ready to go for you on this First Friday.
Just don't burn the house down in the process.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
First thing from me, this from Stacey Dales of the NFL Network. 141 total NFL personnel are in attendance for Ohio State's Pro Day that got underway just 20 minutes ago at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. 6 coaches: Ben Johnson from the Bears, Raheem Morris of the Falcons, Kellen Moore of the Saints, Brian Schottenheimer of the Cowboys, Mike Vrabel of the Patriots, Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you have GMs from 5 teams, including the Falcons, Packers, Steelers, Bears, and Saints.
My first thing, guys, sometimes we forget, and we get caught in this playoff race with the Blue Jackets. We forget just how young these Jackets are. Yesterday, the Jackets signed to an entry-level contract Jack Williams. His season just finished his college season at Northeastern University. He would, just coming in fresh out of college to the Jackets, he would be the 5th youngest player on the roster, and he just turned 23 earlier this month. Adam Fantilli, 20. Denton Matejchuk, 20. Man, it seems like Cole Sillinger's been here forever. He's just 21. And Kent Johnson, 22, are all younger. It's one of the reasons when we talk about the Blue Jackets, and sure, it's been a struggle here recently as they fight for this playoff spot. We're so excited about the future of this team because not only are there good prospects, but they're prospects that we've actually seen something from on the ice at the NHL level.
So one of my family's favorite shows is Blue Bloods on CBS. It just concluded. They went like 12, 13, or 14 seasons. I don't even know which one because they actually were planning to end the show, and then the show was still so successful that they added another season, and now they're adding a spinoff called Boston Blue, still starring Donnie Wahlberg, and so now I am just on pins and needles waiting for that show to start.
I saw this from Mike Petraglia, who covers the Bengals and the Cincinnati Reds. He'll actually join us tomorrow at 11:30 as the Reds get ready for the Giants. Opening day 2025. The subject of the email that he screenshotted says, Miami University and Cincinnati Bengals announce educational partnership. Miami University is now the official university of the Cincinnati Bengals, joining one of the NFL's most exciting franchises as its education partner. Look, however you got to pay Trey, you got to take money from whomever you can get it. And it looks like Miami University, the Oxford one, is on board with the Cincinnati Bengals and doing everything they can to make a Super Bowl run per Joe Burrow.
It's funny that you said that because literally in the break, I saw that from Mike Petraglia. Very interesting. Did you need any more proof that Ohio State is wide receiver U? Well, How about this one, guys? Most receiving touchdowns by college in the NFL in the Super Bowl era. So this is from 1966 to this past year of 2024. Ohio State, 704 receiving touchdowns in the NFL. That is 129 more than the next team on that list, USC, who has 575. And there's a lot of scouts today watching Emeka Egbuka, who will probably add quite a few to that list over his career.
I'm potentially encroaching on some of your territory here. You may have this one for number 3, but I'll say it anyway. I encourage you all to go to Jersey Mike's today. Today is the day that all the proceeds go toward Maria's message. And we just got the email, so Jersey Mike's made the delivery. We put in a huge order, so we're doing our part, and we encourage you guys to help us out with that as well. And so we got lunch served here in a little bit.
Final thing for me, and apologies, Baker, if I steal this from you, but Dean Evison said Cole Sillinger and Jake Christensen are options to enter Friday's lineup against the Vancouver Canucks. And you did bring this to the show earlier, but just looking at the Jackets' playoff percentage for that 8th spot, and this is from moneypuck.com, 13%. I'm pretty sure that's the number on every single sweater for the Blue Jackets this season, so it's a very fitting number. So, you've got 12 games to go before the playoffs, but that number 13 in all of our hearts.
Tell me that the Jackets aren't making the playoffs when 13 is their percentage right now. My last thing, Cole, and it's just going to be piggybacking off of your second one. Yes, go to Jersey Mike's today. All the proceeds go to Maria's message. It is a great thing that Dom Taberi, through tragedy, has put together. And go support Dom's charity and Maria's message. And don't text and drive ever, but especially not today.
Rothman and Ice have a loaded show. At the top of every hour, they got a guest. 12:30, Shefty. 1:30, Bobby Carpenter. 2:30, Zach Wierenski. That is a nice lineup.
We are, of course, back tomorrow. We'll have J.C. Sheldon in the 9 o'clock hour, Paul Feinbaum in the 10 o'clock hour, Mike Petraglia at the bottom of the 11 o'clock hour. Bishop and Friends tomorrow, 9 to noon on The Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we help Billy.
Hi, I'm Billy Hatcher, a former professional baseball player, and I'm a patient at Tri-State Men's Health. Before I started the treatment, it was like my body was sore all the time, and I was feeling very, very sluggish. One day, I would be full of energy, and the next day it was like, where did all my energy go? And since I've started, my body hasn't felt this good in a long time. I feel like, I'm not 21 to 25 again. It's just been great. I feel very, very comfortable coming here. You know, when you have the energy, it's amazing. You get to do so many other things that you couldn't do prior to that. If you're tired of hurting in the mornings, you want to improve your health, you want to feel better, give a call to Tri-State Men's Health. I promise you, you will feel better.
Thanks, Billy. It's true. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
The best matchup this month is you in a new ride. From Coughlin Ford, get a new 2024 Ford F-150 with prices as low as $45,940. Or buy a new 2024 Super Duty starting at under $49,000 during Ford Truck Month. Visit CoughlinFord.com.
All factory rebates to dealer. All prior sales excluded. In-stock units only. No security deposit required. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. Ends 3/31/25.
He shoots. He scores! No matter your sport, it's a great time of year to be a fan. But the fun stops when you or a loved one can't control your gambling. At Maryhaven, we're here to help. Whether it's gambling, drugs, alcohol, or mental health, you don't have to go it alone. With in-person, virtual, and group options, Maryhaven meets you where you are. Always judgment-free. Go to maryhaven.com today. That's maryhaven.com.
Say goodbye to car care headaches with Carvenience from Hinderer Motor Company. This is Justin Hinderer. For only $49, we'll pick up your vehicle, leave you with a rental, and return it fully serviced and spotless. No more juggling your schedule or wasting hours at the shop. Carvenience lets you focus on what matters while we take care of all the rest, making life easier. Schedule your service today at HindererMotorCompany.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Broadcasting from